I spit rare, we shine a deck. Ray Area Podcast, they talk about hip-hop all the way in the UK, so they gon' get props. Ooh, let me catch it once again. Every time I'm spitting, I'll be making...
Let's get this shit.
So today, we are reviewing Kendrick Lamar's latest release, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I think, first of all, I think we should say that we're recording this like a month after it came out. Like, we've taken our time, we've listened to the album, we've not tried to, like, you know, come up with some, you know, masterful dissection within a few days.
But wait. Tell them what we did on release day, because I don't think they understand what we did on release day. They don't even know what we did on release day.
We got up at the crack of dawn. And had our own little listening party.
And by the crack of dawn, we mean we were on Spotify pressing refresh, waiting for that thing to drop. Like, we were up early.
Yeah, it was like, good morning, crackers.
Trust me. Wait, have I got the right button?
There's no wheel ups. That's all I'm saying.
There might be requests for it though.
Tell them.
Wow.
Man, that's a lot to take in the first lesson.
So much, man. So much.
I think it's too early for me to even understand what I've just listened to.
No, that was so much to take in. That was so much to take in, man. Jeez Louise, that was just, that's way too much.
I already know which tracks are my highlight tracks, though. Like, just based off just sheer vibe.
Oh,
Boy wonder.
You don't need to look at who produced that one with Taylor Page. I'm not surprised.
Is it Beckon? Is it Beckon?
That's one of them.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Alchemist and Beckon. It's too much to take in, man. I was on just a wave of a journey. I don't know, man. I can't process it yet. That was way too much to take. On for like that. I don't know. It was just. I need to listen to it again.
The only thing I could say at this point is that felt like a confession. The whole thing was like a purge of all the shit he's been going through and working out in these 5 years. We've not heard from him, and he's changed since then. Like, some of the stuff he's saying.
Yeah.
Artistically, it's like Chipping for Butterfly, right? Like, he's pushed himself in a lot of ways.
He's pushed himself artistically. This is pure art, because he was at his most vulnerable as well, like exposing absolutely everything. He's gone beyond Chipping for Butterfly. Like, this isn't even just hip hop anymore.
You know how I always say I need time, and I'll be honest. A lot of the time, I'm being generous with that. You kind of after like 5 listens, you kind of know how you feel about an album. But I always just kind of give artists the benefit of the doubt. This one needs time. This one could change in 6 months' time. There's so much in there.
You're back outside, but they still lied.
We did. We were back outside. We heard that, and we entered a new realm at 5 a.m. I think a couple people cried. I cried a little bit, but yeah. We had moments.
I think we should also say that, you know, usually with our reviews we do an intro, kind of like discuss what an artist means to us and our experiences and that. We're not going to do that today. Like, if you want to do that with Kendrick, there's plenty of other outlets out there you can get that information. All people need to know is we are all massive fans. We've been following him since before Good Kid, Mad City. We all, I think, hold him up as one of the greatest artists to do it beyond rap and hip hop. Maybe another time, another day, we will do, you know, a Discogs or some other form of episode that covers his career. But today is about the album, right?
You have pocket.
Let's just go straight in then. So I think it's probably best we talk about the content and themes first. Something that I've noted is, to me, and tell me if you disagree, for me, the main two themes throughout the whole album were grief and trauma. Yeah. And I think it would be good to sort of explore how this was kind of covered throughout the album and how it links to other themes such as like fatherhood or infidelity, you know, materialism.
I want Kieran to try to speak more on that. I'm going to get his name completely wrong. The Braid Lockhart, man, that guy. Because someone was saying he was like a therapist guiding Kendrick through a little bit. So whoever was that, you, Kieran?
Yeah, definitely.
I
think, me. To be honest though, Theo's the one that made me start looking into it more, because he started bringing out that therapy. This is the thing, like we were theorizing for like a whole week, weren't we? But Theo came 100%. With some mad theories like throughout that week about like how every song is a therapy session and stuff like that. And then I started hearing someone told me like, oh, have you noticed Eckhart Tolle was mentioned? Because I was speaking to them about it a month before as well. I don't even know how this like synchronicity happened, but then I was like, okay, let me check it out. So I was researching. I found out all of his like spiritual practices, all that kind of stuff. And then I noticed, I think he plays the role of the therapist in the album, but I need someone else to confirm that.
He does. No, it's right. You're right. And you'll notice at the beginning of Father Time, his partner says that you need to speak to Eckhart. So he's already in there. That's the beautiful thing about it. So and when he's saying, "Oh, good morning, Mr. Duckworth," that's him in Count Me Out. So that's him definitely in the therapy sort of session.
Yeah, he doesn't have more appearances than you'd think though, as like the therapist.
But a therapist's job is to listen more than speak. You know what I'm saying? You know, like when Tyler the Creator had his therapy sessions, the therapist is talking a lot. But like anybody who's had therapy or knows what therapy is like, their best thing they can do is listen to you, and maybe they speak a lot at the end. So I think that's what he's doing.
But also, if it was kind of like really explicit throughout, it becomes on the nose, doesn't it? And it almost becomes a bit gimmicky.
That's true.
That's why I think. But the other thing I was going to mention, apparently this guy appears in one of the early or the first PG Lang videos that they did. There's a bit where Kendrick is sitting with him, like almost like in a therapy session, I guess. Like a real quick snippet. So I'll be interested to go back and watch some of those PG Lang promos and that, just to see if there's any sort of like hints towards this album. But yeah, the grief and trauma thing, I mean, there's elements to it that I think perhaps I'm not best to speak on, because whilst I appreciate, grief and trauma are universal, everyone from all walks of life can experience them. I recognize there's something nuanced to like Black generational trauma, and I think that's something that really comes up, especially towards the end of the album. Kendrick covers that. But it would be interesting to discuss that a bit, especially like, in Mother I Sober, what he talks about.
I think we're jumping ahead of ourselves there. I think if we view every track for what it is, every track is an expression of a different feeling or a different moment. So I know you're trying to get to Mother I Sober, but it's like, let me get the track list up. Hold on. Like N95 is a feeling, Die Hard is a feeling.
All of it's a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, every single song has a different feeling or a different moment or emotion. But like, I guess the deeper kind of delving into the trauma side of things is a lot more apparent. For some reason, to me, it's more apparent in the end of part 2.
But in a way, it would be though, because if you start at the beginning of the album, whereas like we were saying, if anyone goes through therapy, they kind of understand. So that what you need to, when you go into therapy, it's all about sort of bringing everything into the room, and that's what Big Steppers is all about. And if you view each track as a different emotion and different therapy session in itself, he's bringing different things into the room. So the first, like United in Grief, he grieves differently. The way he grieves is through spending money and sleeping around. That's how he grieves. He's brought that into the session. N95, he brings another sort of thing. Let me strip.
You ugly as fuck. You out of pocket.
But he brings that into the session, and I could be here all day of like the different emotions for that first album. And then the second one is when they really touch on, and when they've stripped all those outlayers of what those emotions are, that's when you start like finding the source of why you were acting the way you were in the first album is because of the traumas and the grief that you discover. But the only way to get to that point is by actually putting those things into the room first. That's why the second one, Mr. Morale, I find is so deep, because you've been able to strip those layers out so that the grief and the trauma comes out, and that's why it sort of goes in that sort of feeling. That's why when I don't know, obviously I've heard of different people's takes, and it does sound chaotic in the first album, but it's meant to sound chaotic. I don't think people realize it's meant to sound like this. His mind is all over the place. It's meant to sound like it's all over the place. That's the whole point of why it sounds the way it does, because that's how someone feels when they go into therapy. They're trying to find out what the problem is, and they can't at the moment.
I'm going to address what you just said, but just to quickly go back, I guess what I was trying to get at was that although it kind of Mother I Sober is the kind of, I guess, like although it's not the final track, it's like everything sort of comes together at that moment, and he's got that real sort of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's almost like there's the clarity there. Like, there's snippets throughout the album where he's addressing the different, like his grief and the trauma and this and that, and then at that song it kind of comes to a head. But with what you were saying, Theo, like, this album isn't perfect, but I don't mean that as a criticism. Like, it's especially that first half, like you say, it's meant to be messy. It's meant to be all over the place. And do you know what it reminds me a bit of? Has everyone seen Black Swan film? So you know Natalie Portman's character. She's this elite ballerina, and she's part of one of the most famous prestigious shows, which is Swan Lake, and she's gunning like a lot of young women do in that situation to be the main role, which is you play the white and the black swan, and she is like. She's like immaculate. She's so technical, but to the point where it's almost robotic. So she can do the white swan, but her, I don't know what you'd call it, teacher, instructor, whatever, is getting at her because she can't do the black swan because you got to let loose. It's got to be dark and gritty and whatnot. So sometimes with art, it can't be perfect. Do you know what I mean? And it works in something like this because it's like you say, especially in that first half where he's all over the place and he's going through these really dark, deep emotions, and it's meant to be off kilter, and that's why it works so well. I think
it's hard, isn't it? Because it's like, I think the whole album for me, it is a perfect artistic expression, but it's not like it's a perfect listening experience, because like the therapy sessions, like Theo was saying as well, they're not meant to be like perfect when they start. They're like here and there, you're like in defiance with stuff. So like you have these moments of like real clarity, like Father Time, but then it like draws back with Die Hard, or it's the other way around, but like he's just like here, there, and everywhere at the start. Like, I'm gonna talk about my dad, but then actually I'm gonna run away from it. Things like that.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely feel that.
And then like where some of those main themes are portrayed in other things, such as like infidelity, for instance. Something I found interesting is what this album has done for me has now kind of given a new experience and meaning to past songs. So like I think of A Lust now. Way different.
Now we understand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that I have.
And
I
you
have
as well.
the
alcoholism in you.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that all the suicidal stuff actually in To Pimp a Butterfly. It all makes sense now.
I think this album gives context to all of Kendrick's previous work. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
We didn't know the real Kendrick before this album.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We were loving what he was giving us, but he was only giving us parts of himself, and this is the entirety of himself.
Maybe not everything, but he's given us the inside of him. Like he's
given us more,
deeper than ever before.
Yeah, it's more. It's definitely his most sort of honest, open, explicit. There's still going to be more to him. We can never know everything, and I'm sure there'll always be maybe things he never wants to share. But this is, like I say, it's just given a whole new. Listening back to the older music, basically, there's just way more going through my head when I listen.
Yeah,
it's quite genius almost. I'm sure that. I mean, something I was going to say is, I think his intention with this album is this album's for him. Do you get what I mean? Of course, there's an element of it's for my fans, it's for consumers, because why would you sell it otherwise? Well, but more than any album to me, this one is like he had to do this. And I think that's why some people may have been disappointed. It's like this isn't what they were expecting. I think people wanted I think someone described it, and to me, I don't know where they got this from. They called it a victory lap. So when I saw that rumor of like this is his victory lap album, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get like a black hippie song. We're going to get like Dr. Dre. Do you know what I mean? It was going to, but it's not that at all.
It's very. And I think people wanted that we expected. There's only one rap feature.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's from a legend, to be fair, but it's not anyone I would have expected to hear on a Kendrick album, to be fair.
Yeah. Let's talk about the fatherhood thing as well, because something I got especially from like Good Kid, Mad City, is that Kendrick had a good relationship with his dad.
Honestly, this is what confuses me about the
threw
song.
me as well. Yeah,
I'm still thrown when I listen to it. Like, is this actually Kendrick's dad or just like a general conversation?
But I think it's real in the sense that not many people have relationships in their lives where they see the other person as like perfect. Most relationships have some kind of strain or strife, particularly with a parent. Like we all have. I mean, a lot of people, I think, have conflicting feelings about their parents for various reasons. I just found this one, like, to me, I guess the thing I keep thinking, even when I listen to it now, is what conversations took place before like releasing that song. Like, I'd feel well uncomfortable, especially after like I say, what we've kind of got from his music previously.
For a lot of the songs, though, even with like Auntie Darius, I always think when I hear that song, like, did he speak to them before?
Did he speak to his family before? Exactly.
Did he check a few of these things? Like, we'll get into it, but
I don't think you can though, because people will make you change bits, chop bits. I think it's one of those ones where the music just comes out and whatever
they need
you
to
hear
accept
is what
he said. Yeah,
because it's his experience. You can't tell someone not to speak their experience. It's different if someone speaks your business that you've told them, but if someone speaks about their experience of you, because I don't think he's speaking out of, I don't want to press the button, but I don't think he's speaking out of pocket. I think he's genuinely speaking his own experience.
Saying that though, I don't think this is the kind of case where someone said their opinion and like they haven't taken other people's feelings into consideration. I think he's definitely like thought through a lot of the controversial things he's done.
You know what?
Controversial stuff is the trans stuff. I don't know if we've got that later in the run through.
We can get into it,
but that stuff. I don't know. That went over my head in the first listen because I was mentally drained. But speaking about his dad as openly as he did, like I said, I don't see no problems with it.
No, because I actually think it's healthy. Because I actually think it's decent. I don't think his dad is going to feel too much away about it anyway. I think, if anything, he's probably educated his dad, because when you actually deep in listen to it, that's happened to a lot of people. And it's probably, and what's actually incredible is that when he's talking about his dad, what's happening to Kendrick has probably happened to his dad, and his dad has been morphed into that way and doesn't even realize what he's doing and that how it's affected Kendrick. Whereas he probably look and listen to that song and actually think, oh, damn, yeah, this is, I can see how that has affected you in that way. But I was affected because probably his dad was like that to him and he didn't know how to embrace in his feelings. It's like the little things about like
this is just like a minor trauma that he's, I do think trauma is a key theme in this album, and like that's like that minor trauma that his dad inherited from his dad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think I mean Kendrick perhaps doesn't say this really sort of explicitly, but I think he's cutting his dad some slack in the sense that his dad came from a rough and tough environment. They lived in a rough and tough environment.
Yeah.
The reason why he was the way he was with Kendrick was partly because maybe that's all he knew, but also to protect him. Because they lived in an environment where if you were quote unquote soft, you'll get eaten alive, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So, and I think Kendrick kind of says that without actually saying it.
What was Sean touching on about Black generational trauma? I know you said you don't want to speak on it because it's not your place, but like I want to hear at least the talking points you had or the kind of conversation starters around it, maybe for the listeners and for us, because that kind of feeds into this.
Yeah. I think, well, like I said, on one hand, these things are universal. Like, for instance, I've had, and I'd obviously never say their names, I've had friends say to me things like, I don't think my dad's ever said he loved me, or I can't remember the last time my dad hugged me, and things like that. And then I have thought about it before, but this album really made me think about the effects that has on people, on men specifically. But I think with this, how do I put this? And maybe I'm jumping ahead, but when we relate it to the sort of the inclusion of Kodak and what he says towards the end of Mother I Sober, it's like there's, I guess, in society there are real problems at grassroots levels that aren't being addressed, and there is like a cycle to this. Do you get, if that makes sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, the cycle definitely makes sense because you touched on that in Heart Part 5.
How much are people a product of their environment, or do they choose to be this way? You see what I'm trying to say? With things like the internet now and stuff like that, you can see outside of your current living situation. Do you know what I mean? You could be broke, homeless, whatever. You can look at a mansion now.
We're not like gurus. Like we all act compulsively, and like trauma will make people do stuff compulsively.
I'm not
negating
they're not
consciously choosing that.
But I'm saying maybe now with so for example, the fact we were able to access this album, right? 20 years ago, I'm sure there was artists, as good as, if not, maybe better than Kendrick Lamar that no one ever heard of because the internet didn't exist. You'd have to physically go to the record shop. That person would have to have their own type of drive and hustle to even get their music to you. And I think kind of going back to what Sean said about, people inheriting trauma and inheriting ways of acting and behaving, are people more accountable for that now? Is what I guess I'm trying to say is like, is there a higher level of accountability because there's like an element of more choice?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess what it made me think is, and I know I've said a couple times, like these things can be universal, but I don't want to be one of these. I mean, I get you're all on social media. I'm sure you've seen it where like white liberal people will kind of like, I guess, almost like claim black trauma or like black culture and try and like make it. Do you know what I mean? It gets a bit uncomfortable. But I guess what I was thinking with this is Kendrick says something about like tattoos and something else, chains and all that.
Chains,
the mask, the pain, and it was really not eye-opening because it's not like something I've never considered before, but it kind of like reaffirmed like there is something very specific to. I'll go even more like nuanced to like the sort of African American experience and that generational trauma, and not enough. I guess we don't hear it much, especially in mainstream rap. We don't really hear it at all. Do you get what I mean? And I hope that maybe this album can, I don't know, get people thinking about it more. And like, it's not like making excuses for people's actions, but it's saying like, this is there's a cycle here. There's something going wrong at the beginning of people's lives. Let's address it, if that makes sense.
It made me think about what Beyonce did in Lemonade with Jay-Z, where she was like, he cheated on me and he did all this stuff because of like how his dad treated him and like his own past history and stuff like that, like the crimes and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe she influenced this direction Kendrick went in a little bit.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But we will get to it when we talk about Kodak, because I do think there's a line between like, on one hand you can say, oh yeah, that people hurt. What does he say in the heart part 5? Hurt people.
Hurt people. Hurt people. But
then there still should be repercussions and there still should be accountability. But we will get to that at some point. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was religion on here, because religion has been a big part of Kendrick's music, I think, throughout his whole career, whether you go back to songs like Faith on the EP or what he Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. There's this continuous thing. Do you think there's been any change in him with his faith?
This is the thing. I think it's to do with Eckhart Tolle as well.
I think he's become a lot less religious, isn't it? He's just like he's not. There's no prayers on this album. There's none of that kind of vibe of like
Eckhart
praying to the trees.
Yeah,
Eckhart Tolle. He says that. The thing what Eckhart says is like look beyond religion and like forget like the differences that we all have as people, but like find a commonality in like how we can be a better person in like the modern day. And I feel like Kendrick's tried applying that and learning that and like deconstructing his own Christianity, especially in Auntie Diaries. He shows it where he kind of like comes at the preacher, which I don't even know if that's actually a real story, that element of the story, but it just shows his state of mind where it's like, I'm going to challenge these belief systems that I was taught in the past.
He says something interesting. I can't remember which song it is now. I've gone a bit blank, but he says something about not putting your faith in one man. And I found that interesting, or one being, or something like that.
Oh yeah, and especially even in Rich Spirit, he says something about Jesus and then Muhammad, like literally the line after.
Yeah. Well. I feel like maybe on one hand, I'm like, he's kind of, I guess he's maybe become more open-minded and less traditional or conventional in terms of his faith and religion. He's still religious, like you still get that from here. I mean, he says that he had writer's block and then he's now speaking through God or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But I guess back to what I was saying about not putting your faith in one man, when you think about, again, on Dan, where he's on God, where he's saying like, don't judge me. There's this like need for God to forgive him or to like understand him or something like that. Whereas now it's like, and it's not even just with God, it's he's saying it to us as well, the listener, like, Savior, I'm not your savior. The cat is
he's
out the
definitely
bag.
changed his relationship with God, because even like Die Hard chorus, he's like, I hope you see the God in me. It's not like out there anymore. It's more inside of him.
Yeah, but isn't that something that's quite common in? I don't remember what groups were saying it, but like they call each other like God, like is it Wu-Tang? They call each other gods because they say God is in everybody. Like he's not a thing in the sky.
That's just like Hinduism and like Buddhism though as well. That's where it all stems from.
Religion is a social and cultural construct. So with Kendrick's views on religion changing, do you think his view on the modern world, I wouldn't say has changed, but is like progressive, or is it old school?
He's definitely like become progressive, because he's saying something about not being in the Matrix and stuff like that. You know how we always say
it. But then on the flip side though, he's saying, and this is just like just throwing it out there, he's saying things like, "What the fuck is cancel culture?" though, and stuff like that, which can be perceived as like a little bit, I don't know, conservative or regressive.
Yeah.
I know what he
says it as well, and we've talked about this. I think we've talked about it on the podcast before as well.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's the line that followed after what he said about the fuck is cancel culture. Though he said something like treat you niggas like Oprah or some shit like that. It's like Oprah is above canceling. Oprah could do a fucked up mad thing and no one cares because it's Oprah. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
It's true. Yeah. I hear that.
He's basically saying cancel culture is not real because it's subjective. It depends who you are, what you've done, or you know what you've done versus who finds out. Do you see what I'm trying to say? He's trying to say there's no blanket kind of like, if you do this, you're done. It's subjective.
Also,
I get it.
It didn't used to happen. Sorry, conversation, but it didn't used to happen. So like,
no, but you're right though. It didn't happen before. I don't know. It's just these keyboard warriors that just said, "Oh yeah, you cancelled. Oh yeah, you cancelled," and stuff has come out of light. And yeah, obviously they need to be accountable for some of the fucked up shit that they've done. But you are right. None of it happened before. It's just like a new thing saying that, oh, you've done this. It comes out. Oh, you cancelled.
What's
but
funny?
Are you really cancelled though? Because people stick with people anyway, so you're not necessarily cancelled in the first place.
The cancelling is actually it's self-sabotage when you cancel yourself, right? If you just say I'm not fucking cancelled and carry on, your core fan base is still gonna ride with you regardless.
Yeah.
Prime example being Kanye West. Another example being this YouTuber called Jenna Marbles, who, when I was watching her, all she did was do like offensive, weird jokes. She never did anything like blackface or anything too far. She just did like funny voices and impressions of certain types of people. And, maybe she did a little Chinese voice here or something. You know what I'm saying? Little bits that could, get them types of people riled up. But it came out, all 5-10 years later, and she took herself off YouTube. And I'm like, I feel now, if you look at what cancelling is, all it is a week or two of very, very strong online abuse where you should just withdraw yourself from the public image. And then when you come back, all those people are gone because they're on to the next person to cancel.
Yeah.
Or they're all talking about pray for this war that they don't really care about. They're just seeing it on socials. And it all moves forward. But I think Kendrick's view of cancel culture is it subjective. It's what you choose for it to be. I don't know if that's too far out there.
Though, like everyone's got their own perspective of the world, and it's like you said, it's who chooses who is cancelled. It's different groups of people.
I got the I didn't take it as him being like regressive or anything like that. Just to kind of clarify, I think he might be. I think it's kind of in line with how I feel about cancel culture. Is that it's to me it's superficial. Like one you just said, it's not really real. Like there's a period of time where you're kind of quote unquote cancelled, but eventually people forget and they move on to the next thing, and then this person has their comeback, or they just kind of gradually come back into the limelight. But I think Kendrick, with this, in terms of like modern society and that, I feel like there's quite a balanced outlook, but it's also quite a confusing one, because I think Kieran mentioned the whole thing about the Matrix, which is always considered to be quite a kind of out there way of looking at things, almost like a conspiracy theorist. He says the thing about you're back outside, but they still lied and
hold on.
But then on the other side, there we go. But then on the flip side of that, that noise. On the flip side of that, he talks about how he addresses like Kyrie and how he questions him because he got COVID and he was sick, and do you know? So that's like the opposite. That's again more conservative. Usually people that are more conservative, get their vaccines and they very much believe that it's all real and whatnot. It's a bit not all. I don't know if all over the place is the right way of saying it, but I was a bit confused at times.
The thing is, though, there's not supposed to be a consistent outlook on the album, isn't it? Because it's different therapy sessions. It's not all one day he experienced these thoughts. He's a Gemini as well. And like, I can speak from experience, like our opinions change literally like within a conversation. So
we know.
We quite literally been speaking to you for years, Kieran, and we understand that your opinions literally, it's an on and off switch. It's very easy to flip. It's just that's why you have this button.
Edit that.
I'm doing my monologue.
There you go. That's why you have that button.
I guess that falls in
my screen.
I guess it falls in line like back to the whole what we were saying about the first half of the album being a bit all over the place, and that these are different therapy sessions, different days. You feel different day to day, right? Some days you wake up and you're just off, or other days you feel a bit more with it and inspired and things like that. So I guess it's in line. I just found it interesting. Like one minute he's talking about the Matrix, and in others he's like, very much about like not getting his vaccine, but you get what I mean, or like anti-cancel culture. It's a bit here and there.
What about Kendrick as a celebrity? Because we don't see him that much. We don't hear from Kendrick that much. He just pops up, drops music.
I don't think he engages with.
No, he doesn't engage at all. Like he says on Savior,
fame
man.
links to Savior. Yeah, I was about to say his fame put him in a position where he's the number one conscious rapper. So that Black Lives Matter movement. I don't know if it was a majority or not, but they wanted him to be the spokesperson, basically. Like, I think I was watching this YouTube video where someone was saying they were at the protest and people were chanting like, "Where's Kendrick?" or something like that, and that's crazy. Like, how can you expect someone?
He is mad. It's mad
to do that.
Why would they be looking for Kendrick? What does Kendrick offer?
That's what I mean. That's why it's so dumb. That's why it's so dumb.
I think that's the only reason.
Yeah, they hold him as like this godlike figure that if he says something, things will change, which is just wild. It's such a wild take, and people do it. People are like, remember at the time they were like, "Where's Kendrick? Where's Kendrick?" And I'm like, you're thinking, what is Kendrick gonna do? Kendrick's just like another person just going out just to free the movement. Just because he comes out and says something, it's not gonna do everything. But people are living off because when All Right came out and then it turned into an absolute chant for the Black Lives Matter movement. I think they wanted another moment like that, but I'm sorry, Kendrick's just a normal. Kendrick's just a normal person.
Kendrick didn't make that music to score. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The events that were going on. Kendrick made that music in private, in his personal time.
Yeah.
Arguably, it's his job to make music, but he made it privately in his personal time. People then chose that song and made it what it was.
Yeah, precisely.
Kendrick's not at the front line of anything saying like, I am the leader. Look at me. Let's do this. Let's do that. You see what I'm trying to say? So the fact people are looking for him, what does that say about us as let's put it this way? There's celebrities, then there's the general public. What does that say about the general public that they look to celebrities for guidance when they arguably they don't know any more than we do, or they can't do that much more than we can?
This is nothing new though, right? I mean, fandom has been there. You got to look at someone like a Michael Jackson, or even go as far back as like the Beatles or Elvis Presley. Music's a powerful thing, and people, I think, and this doesn't just happen with musicians, it happens with all artists. They forget that, and I don't mean to like simplify it, but it's art at the end of the day. Someone that doesn't make them a god, it doesn't make them a leader. They're just very good at what they do, and sometimes they might speak about relatable things, right? And I think this might be a little bit controversial, what I'm about to say. I think some of it was, to an extent, was self-inflicted, not as a sort of cultural, political leader or anything like that, but Kendrick was telling us for time that he was the king, that he was this and that. And
let's be real though, even in High Power, he was acting like he was a messiah in that song.
Yeah, and let's remember songs like Black of the Berry, you know what kind of reception you're going to get from a song like that. It was a powerful song, right? From an album like To Pimp a Butterfly, like he must have known, he's not stupid, what what that album meant, really, what the purpose of that album was. But
what I mean is to dabble, but he didn't want to like helmet.
Yeah, but fans go beyond. So when Kendrick says he's the king of New York or he's the best rapper alive and this and that, they'll go beyond that. Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
Suddenly because he makes this sort of conscious, politically charged music, he's not only the leader of hip hop or whatever, he is our leader. He's the second coming of Tupac, or do you know what I mean, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fans just get caught up in, like, listen, we've all been there. When I was younger, this time, like 10 years ago, you couldn't tell me nothing about Kanye West. There you go. I was defending Kanye West all the time. Do you get what I'm saying though?
I can vouch for that because I remember you were defending him at like tooth never. You would.
What broke his spirit was that Yeezus CD. Recently. That Yeezus CD. I watched the man's spirit break when he got that CD. I had chucked it on his bed. I was like, look at this shit. I went all the way to HMV for this. He's like, this is Sean as well. The man loved the inside sleeve or like something cool about a CD. He's like, it's just a CD in a box.
I won't have it, man.
But funny what we're talking about, you know, like leading culture and that kind of stuff. In the Heart Part 5, he starts out really strong with that whole, my perspective may differ from yours. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been down with me. All my fans, all my beautiful fans. Anyone who's ever gave me a listen, all my people. So he's still kind of putting himself...
This is one thing I wanted to say.
Exactly.
I think he did it in the Heart Part 5 because he knows that's what people wanted from this album. But he just did it in that song so that he's like, I've done it. Like, I don't need to do it anymore kind of thing. He's addressing the culture here because the album doesn't address the culture at all.
But he addresses the culture
the features, though.
In its entirety in the Heart Part 5. That's the mad part. Because obviously you see the video where he's all... If you haven't seen the video, listeners, fucking go watch that shit. Right? But go watch the video to the Heart Part 5. But all the faces he morphs into, even to include Will Smith in there, means that this song was made quite recently. Because the Will Smith thing happened very recently. Yeah. But he had Kobe, Will Smith.
OJ.
Yeah, all the people that have been cancelled, fucked up, or just had wrongdoings to them. Nipsey, all of this, right? Is that him going, look, there's your culture song, because I know you lot are fucking dying for it? Or is that Kendrick just...
Yeah, that's true.
Is that Kendrick just kind of... Because that first intro bit is kind of almost like, if you say I'm the leader, then I accept that. But realistically, because before that he says, as I get a little older, I realize life is perspective. Is he just saying, go out and live your life? Don't look to me to lead you type thing. Even though he says,
I definitely think he's saying that. 100%. Definitely feel that. Yeah. But then with the, with like, how Sean was saying some of it self-inflicted as well. It's like even the features on Family Ties where he's coming out saying, I'm smoking on your top 5. Obviously stuff like that. And then you get fans like just hyping over and then thinking, oh, look, the King's back. But to be honest, I personally think that's just him in his hip hop bag. That's just him just like delving in. There's a part of the culture where he's going to get excited by that. He wants competition. He's going to indulge in that and he wants that. But he's not saying that he is the king. It's just... everyone has ego and everyone has confidence. That's just him just boasting it out, just trying, just getting a feel of it and just having fun with it. Whereas he's not going out saying that I want my whole fan base to look at me as like I'm the absolute messiah or second coming of Tupac, that I'm doing all this and that. It's just him having fun.
Do you know what the real problem is? You kind of highlighted it there, yeah. Kendrick has built 2 very distinct fan bases. The woke crowd that like the To Pimp a Butterfly, the whole soul type vibe, all this type of shit. And then he's got the rap crowd like under his thumb. Like the rap crowd is rocking with Kendrick fully.
They're the ones that love Damn and think that's his best album.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. The rap fans are listening to the lyrics and go, you can't touch this guy. But that conscious woke crowd is like, they're hearing the lyrics, but they also need that fucking groovy bass line to get them through it, like To Pimp a Butterfly. So those people, you know, the conscious crowd that are hearing this album, they're like, I don't know what to do with this. It sounds like a mess. It's all over the place. It's like, yeah, that's life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life ain't pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong, to sort of like summarize, like, I do think the main problem is fandom. Like what fandom is like, what people do, they blow up these artists to more than what they actually are and look to them for things that they're not qualified to speak on or act on. But let's bring it to the present. This whole moniker, what is it? Lamar?
Okay, Lamar. As your boy
says. What that apparently means.
Okay, Lamar.
Have you seen what it apparently means?
No, what does it mean?
Right?
Yeah, or like like I am us, or so. I can't remember what it comes from. I think, isn't it Native American, like indigenous language? And
wasn't it Swahili? Okay. Sean, I feel like I swear it was Swahili.
Let's have a look. What was here?
Okay, Lamar.
Wait, no, actually, you. I think part of it is Native American and part of it's Swahili. Actually,
so it means my people, right? And it's Choctaw. Is that the right way of pronouncing it? I don't know. Maybe I'm being really ignorant. That to me sounds Native American, but I'm about to get cancelled. Basically, what I'm saying is, when you kind of call yourself that, you are, again, it's like you're kind of what it is, though? Kind of asking for a little bit.
I don't even think Kendrick's doing it like on a genuine thing. I think Oklahoma has a very satirical vibe to me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's clearly a character that he's playing, right? It's not like in the Family Ties video and stuff. Like he's not being himself. In the Dre show, it wasn't Kendrick we were seeing.
Yeah, but that version of Kendrick was cool as fuck though in the fucking Super Bowl shit. That version was cool as hell.
It's a character, isn't it? And that's the character called Oklahoma, which is this Messiah.
Yeah. Look, I think that
the
intentions are there, and I know I'm with you, but I think you've also got to accept that a lot of people don't think that deep.
That's
Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, fault, people. Like,
I know it's their fault
because I want to get into the Auntie Diaries, and it's kind of linked to this, to be honest.
Let's jump into it.
Yeah. One thing I want to say before you get started, right?
Yeah. Let me hear everyone else.
Wait. You can say your bit after I say this bit. Yeah. This has to be one of the most politically incorrect and politically correct songs out there. Does that make sense?
Yes, because you're on the same wavelength. I am 50-50 on this song. I understand that.
Nah, okay. Like hear this out.
I really am.
I think people don't look deep enough though. Like the whole album's about growth anyway. And like the cancel culture thing, it's like you don't let people grow if you just cancel them. The album's about his growth and like understanding himself. This song in itself is like his growth and his journey of coming to terms with a gender change and coming to terms with how his language should be viewed differently as well. So he's saying the word faggot, not knowing that it's offensive at the start. But it's like, if he doesn't say it...
Doesn't he say it repeatedly, though?
He said it quite a bit. No, I see both sides, though, because I really see where you're coming from, Kieran. It's when people get annoyed about it, I can't disagree with how they get annoyed. But the art, you're spot on with it. Like, he has to say the F-bomb because he has to show where he comes from, the growth. If he doesn't say it, it kind of doesn't.
And
it does that meaning
is
not there. He
could have just said F-bomb, to be honest.
Yeah, or he could have bleeped it out. He could have bleeped it out. But I know
it's a Kanye album. It's not clean.
No, but you know why he's put it in there. It's taken away from the art.
Let's just think about hip hop in general. Like hip hop has said faggot like throughout history. So, and I know that Kendrick wants to do this thing where like people are hearing it and like maybe they think it's actually okay to hear as well. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not going to know it's what word it is, or I don't know. Like it's a normal word for a lot of people still. So
I think people get confused with what Kendrick actually meant at the end, because people were I've seen reactions that are going and it just annoys but it annoys me because people were reacting going, oh, you can't then say that, like why would this white person say nigger, because then all white people are going to say nigger. And I'm saying you are missing the point. You are completely missing the absolute point. He has said that because he's basically like contradicting himself. He's saying that obviously I stopped that fan on stage. She shouldn't have said this, but then in the same breath, I've been saying the F-bomb.
He's admitting
it's not. He's exactly. That's exactly what he's doing. So he's saying, obviously, it's not okay to say either. They're in the same bracket. He's not saying, oh, let's say it together, and only if like a white girl says nigga. No, he's not saying it. He's contradicting himself. He shouldn't have been saying those F-bombs, and it's in the same bracket as that white person who came out and said nigga. It's in the same bracket.
I think it's the idea of, all right, if you think it's okay to say the N-word, right, everyone should be able to say it. But everybody, the majority of people that say the F-word, right, aren't the group of people that are offended by it. You see what I'm trying to say? I feel that's what Theo's trying to say. It's the reverse of it. Black people can say nigger, but like I don't really hear, you know, gay or LGBTQIA plus. I don't know if I said all the right letters. I think I said most of it. They don't say faggot that much because it's not a word that they're trying to reclaim power from. You see what I'm trying to say? And I think in Kendrick's kind of idea of saying it, he's trying to desensitize people to it, but he's also trying to point out the fact that, you know, he said we were kids, we don't know no better. And he's saying, you know, once you grow up, you should realize the error in your ways. Rather than how you try to explain things to yourself as a child or as a young person of, oh, it's okay because everyone else is doing it. You have to have that kind of educated and informed perspective. But I think Kieran has more to say about Auntie Diaries.
I have more to say, but he does also say, like, we say it together.
I'm doing my monologue.
He says with Marianne, like he says it with her now. So I mean, maybe like Marianne said, like, yeah, we can say it together, but we don't know their personal. Sean has something to say. His mouth is twitching. I have a couple of things. I have a monologue about this song to be honest, but
we want the monologue.
Yeah. Do you mind if I say something? And then you can. I feel like you're going to be able to wrap this up better. My thing, similarly to the grief and trauma thing, is like I want to be careful with what I say because like I recognize there's a nuance to the grief and trauma Kendrick's referring to. I'm also aware that I am I'm a straight man. I'm not a member of the LGBTQ plus community. I don't identify as trans or anything like that. So I'm never going to say people shouldn't be offended by this or that, or they don't understand this or that because I'm not from that community. Do you get what I mean? So I'm not going to touch that bit. I'm also not going to say that Kendrick's like the slur, the misgendering, the dead naming was intentional or was intentionally sloppy or anything like that. Again, because it's just not my place to say. The one thing I'll say is what this song has done for me is educate. And that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. When we first listened to this song, Sam kind of touched on it. I didn't see any controversy in it because we were caught in the moment. We were drained, I think, from what we'd heard before. and as we've kind of touched on as well, hip hop has notoriously been homophobic. So to hear a song like this from a mainstream artist was refreshing. And then as time went on, I noticed, I'm not on social media, but I see on the websites the response. And what this song has caused is discourse, right? People are talking about it. They're sharing their opinions. And for someone like me who is cisgender, a term that I didn't even know of before this song, right? I had no idea what being a cis het male was. I didn't know.
You didn't know that? You're well out of the loop, man. You got to know these fucking phrases.
You need to get social media.
You got to put your pronouns in there. People don't even know our pronouns.
Yeah, pronouns.
We've been making this podcast for over a year. People don't know our pronouns. We're flopping. But God,
yeah. But I'm just being honest, right? So to me, whether this song was, I appreciate it may not have been executed perfectly, but one, it's not harmful, it's not hate speech, and two, like I said, the conversation that it started, I think, is positive.
I think
because people like me, who aren't, I don't get me wrong, I'm somewhat aware of terms and I put my pronouns in things at work and things like that. It has taught me more. And it's like, I'm learning more and I'm more, not even, I wouldn't say more, I've been open to it, but it's been educational. And I think that's a good thing because I think there's a lot of people, I'd put good money on there be more people out there like me who have gotten quite a lot out of this song.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And hopefully now there's going to be more songs dealing with these topics in mainstream rap and hip hop.
But what I want to say is it has to come from a real place. It has to come from a real place because this is people are skipping over the fact that this is probably the best storytelling on the album that he's done here. He builds a picture of what this person looked like, how they operated, how he was trying to handle the situation. And that, people learn best through stories. Everybody knows that the hook was like Demetrius is Marianne now, all this kind of, all that. But it's like you're coming to terms with the fact that 20, 30 odd years ago, maybe closer to 30, people weren't allowed to openly be these things, whereas nowadays they are, but people still kind of are not as accepting of it as he was the whole time, because that was his lived experience. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I also think, and I'm gonna stop now because I know Kieran has got. I thought, yeah, Kieran's got more to say, but I think the other thing I would say is, I think that I'm going to give Kendrick the benefit of doubt based on what we've had to this point, based on the sort of 12 to 13 years of music we've had, and what we know Kendrick to be, which is thoughtful, empathetic, intelligent, this and that. I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say that some of the perceived mistakes and sloppiness and I guess offensiveness on this song is intentional. I think that he's perhaps misgendering at certain points because he's kind of reflecting at that point in his life. Do you get what I mean? Or he's dead naming at this part of the song because at that point in the story, he didn't know any better. Do you get what I'm saying? Again, I'm not saying it's executed perfectly. I'm not saying that it's not offensive or people shouldn't be offended. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt and thinking perhaps some of this was intentional. But like I said, hopefully, look, it's created conversation. Hopefully we hear this more and, we're on the right track, I guess, when it comes to sexual orientation, gender within being sort of portrayed and discussed in hip hop.
Kieran, give us the monologue. Because
let's go.
We've been waiting for the
monologue. Let's be real.
No, because Sean's perspective on this is needed, though. Sean's perspective on this is needed because I think the problem is when things like this occur or things like this happen, they always look to people from within that community to voice their opinion. And that's fantastic, but it's also good to get. I'm not saying Sean's the everyday man, but it's good to get the perspective of the opposing side. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Like, what does the average man experience or think of this type of stuff?
Sean is like the opposite of the song, so yeah.
Sean is.
I just wanted to clarify certain things because I feel like the he/she mistakes. It's like Sean said. These things are intentional. Like we're going through this journey of Kendrick growing and becoming more intelligent as it goes as well. How can we know that if he's like saying she and her and Marianne at the start? Like you're not even getting the picture that Marianne was Demetrius before. In the past, Marianne was a man before, and it is okay to say he for that person that was then as well. Someone might disagree with that, but I think it's okay. That person was a he back then, so and Kendrick's referring to that time, so it does make sense. And the confusion bit, that's just something that everybody does. Like I think, and I'm not saying it's okay, but I do think that he shows how we need to view people how they want to be, not like what we think. And it's like he needs to show that he's got the flaws in order to show that you can learn from that as well. And I'm just confused why people are offended. Like I feel like you turn it on. Imagine just turning the song on midway and you're like, oh, he's misgendering. You'll hear it straight away, right? But it's like if you actually sit and listen to it, there is actually a story. Like there's a narrative that isn't a 4-minute song. It's a 20-year period or more even. I don't know how long this story lasts.
And I really get what you're saying because that's what I got. I thought all the misgendering was intentional because how are you gonna? He's basically describing how it's exactly.
He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. You know what I mean? Like,
precisely.
Sloppy writer.
The thing is, how are you gonna know Kendrick's growth if he doesn't do that? Because I'm sorry, at the beginning, he's got to show that where he sort of where he came from, and like you said, Marianne was Demetrius before, so he grew up knowing Demetrius. Obviously, Demetrius is now Marianne now, but he probably did refer to Marianne as a he. Obviously, yes, it's misgendering, it's not right, but he's showing you his growth and his understanding so that now that he's gotten to this point, he understands better. But how are you going to get that message from the song if he doesn't do that? That's why I think he's 100% intentional. He's done it.
The album, it addresses cancel culture, and it does link back to that too, because it's like, and he's not saying he's above cancel culture by releasing this song, but he's like, you would usually cancel someone for using these mistakes and like presenting it, but if you do actually look deeper, this isn't a cancelable thing. Like there's layers to what I'm giving you right now.
And because we're professional podcasters, I want to flow this bit into the next bit. the way he delivers that line of Demetrius is Marianne now, right? The tone of that almost sounds like it's a secret, but he's also not really interested in the way he's saying it. You see what I'm trying to say? He's not like, even the way he says,
he's almost like
faggot.
an embarrassment. You mean?
Yeah, even the way he says faggot, it's like, you know, I mean, he's like trying to say it to put, you know, when people go, that's almost how he's saying it. So Kendrick's use of voices here is really helping to bring that storytelling more to light.
Kendrick's vocal delivery of this, it's like Nas on mic, but like throughout a whole
song. We don't talk about Nas, man.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, stop it.
Don't apologise. Don't apologise.
What?
You are fucking...
Nas is the greatest.
Change that opinion, yeah.
Now Kendrick is.
But yeah, talking about Kendrick's different uses of voices, obviously, the most obvious one being in this Auntie's Diaries song. What about the rest of the album? Any other standout?
N95.
N95 is a madness, man.
I think Kendrick at this point
sounds like 5 rappers. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Kendrick at this point is in that you've got to put him up as one of the greatest rappers when it comes to range of voice. Do you know what I mean? We talk about the influences, people like Eminem. Oh my God, I've forgotten who else is really
who's got loads of voices. Nicki Minaj, you have to put her.
Nicki Minaj is the top. You can't beat Nicki Minaj because she's got accents to come with that too.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj is number one.
She's got tons, man. She's got loads of gears, man.
She sounds good doing it. Eminem doesn't sound good all the time doing it.
Eminem uses voices differently though. He uses voices, to be comedic, to be this, to be that. Yeah. Nicki Minaj is just flawless whenever she puts on her little accents or whatever. But Kendrick is up there. You think about Kendrick's range, yeah? Songs like Goosebumps, then this, Swimming Pools. So many features. He sings in places. What's that song he was on the other day? The Baby Keem one.
Range Brothers?
Yeah, Rover.
Even You. Kendrick on You, that was like ridiculous. The absolute best one, I think.
Yeah, You is his highlight.
What in the world is that delivery? He does. Is he drinking in the studio?
Yeah, he must be drinking in the studio because the way he has that is disgusting.
The glug.
Yeah, the glug is just something else, man. And you hear the raw emotion from it. Oh, it's just too much.
Speaking of,
I was going to say he's become a master, but he's been doing it right. He's really with the voices. Even though I feel like, was he doing it on Section 80?
It's definitely Good Kid, Mad City where I noticed it though.
Good Kid, Mad City was
Good
really...
Kid obviously was a high pitch. Backseat Freestyle was high pitch as well.
But you're talking about like vocal delivery and performance. What about We Cry Together? That is literally... that feels like a real argument that's just been recorded.
Yeah, like a little movie. Yeah.
Do you know what that song, right? I thought when we first heard it, I thought, do you know what? That is a masterpiece. But I'm going to struggle to listen to this on replay. I haven't skipped it once.
No, I haven't skipped it once. I haven't skipped it.
No, sometimes I'm trying to vibe to the album. I have to press next on it.
Oh, really?
I tell you what you can't do. If you're driving about, if that song comes on, I'm turning it down.
Side A has a lot of moments where you can't drive to the music because it's like Worldwide Steppers makes me want to like hit someone on a zebra crossing. You know what I mean?
Like, homicide.
Did I tell you when I tried to go for a jog and that song came on, I almost tripped over.
It messes up. I don't feel like a good person listening to that song, you know.
Yeah, no, some of the lyrics on Worldwide Steppers is just too much. It's the one where he says. It's what is it when he's saying every time he thinks he's like sleeping with a white person, he's like it's a retaliation. I'm like,
that song's stupid. That song's stupid.
That might be one of the best lyrics in the album, though.
No,
because it's like we all like cocked our heads up like in a half sleeping position when we.
He's like, last time I fucked a white bitch, I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Kendrick?
But that's him at the point in the album, like that. I mean, I know Require Together is like the toxic anthem, but that point in the album for me is where he's at his most just off. Like that is a weird song. I mean that in the best possible way. I mean, like,
I call that defiant, isn't it? Because he's having these therapy sessions and he's just like, I actually don't care what this therapist is saying to me. I'm just going to tell them my own worldview, and it's like it's a bit fucked, to be honest.
It's the fact he said his girl said, "Do you have a problem?" He said, "I might be racist."
I know. Just why
honesty, bro. But I rate the honesty.
But it's the way he delivers that line. It's like Whitney said that person, I might be racist. Like it's such a quick snapback. I'm like, what?
That's again, we're going back. Like his delivery is impeccable because the beat already puts you in like a Safdie Brothers film. Like you're
puts
on
in
edge,
the tensest mood ever.
Yeah,
on edge. And then when he says like, you know, he ends the verse with like the first time I fucked the white, and then there's not really a pause. He goes straight into the second verse. You're like, what?
Exactly.
I needed a bit of a break, and he just keeps going.
He doesn't let you digest it.
I don't even know how we're calling those verses. It's all just one long verse. You see what I'm trying to say? It's like, oh, verse 1, verse 2, but it's like
it's mad abstract.
No, but there's a chorus. I'm a killer. He's a killer. She's a killer.
Yeah, but that doesn't drop between verse 1 and verse 2. Is what I'm saying.
Does it not?
Nah,
I thought it does.
No.
It's kind of crazy though. Like something like that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You're right. Yeah, it doesn't. God.
When you think about it, it's kind of mad that kind of rapping is on a mainstream album. Like, that's the kind of thing you hear on like JPEG Mafia or Billy Woods, where it's just, I don't mean exactly like that. I just mean where it's so just like left field and off.
To put
like
it track 3 as well is really shocking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like sometimes I skip it when I'm listening to it, and I'm like, this actually flows so nice. Like from N95 into Die Hard, and then you just keep going with the vibes. It's interesting.
Do you think this is one of his or some of his best writing he's ever done as well?
No.
Worldwide Steppers or
no. The sorry, not that song, just the album.
No.
Oh yeah,
I don't think so.
100%.
I don't think it's some of his best writing. I think it's some of his most interesting writing, but that doesn't mean it's his best writing. If that makes
Mother I
sense.
Sober.
For me, Kendrick's
but that's
best
deep
writing,
though, isn't it? Yeah.
Kendrick's best writing is more prevalent for me in the Heart Part 5. Yeah. Where he's brought so many different pieces and things together.
That's on the album now, you know.
Yeah, it's an extra third disc. I've seen that. But he's brought so many different parts together.
Sean, you've been off the grid.
What? No. When is it gone on?
Grid.
No, because I've seen that on the desktop version, but on mobile it's not on there on the album.
No, your mobile one's downloaded the wrong one though. If you just like search it, you'll find the updated one as well.
That's the strange thing about Spotify. When they update shit, sometimes they don't do it right. Like even on mobile, you don't see disc 1, disc 2. You don't even see track numbers. You just see
you don't see any. Yeah, you don't see any of it. Yeah,
but I guess that's for cleaner UI experience. Shout out Spotify. If you listen to Spotify, join the Discord.
It is on there. Oh snap!
But what I was saying is, this album is Kendrick's most interesting writing. For me, it's not his best. For me, some of his best writing is seen in very specific moments on specific songs, like you said, Kieran, Mother I Sober. But for me, I'm vibing more with is it Die Hard? The writing on Die Hard is more my
today, Die Hard is.
I don't know.
I've been calling. I said that from the moment I was putting in the group. I said I put that in the group that bumped, and some people say they don't like it. But
I was getting annoyed that people were saying it like to start with, and I was like, oh, this is that Kendrick. I'm not buying into it. But today I was driving in the sun. It was playing. I was
he just.
But like,
bumps,
I was feeling a bit like not happy in it, and the song was playing, and I was like. Yeah, it sounds like summer, but it doesn't. You don't hear summer. Like he's saying some dark shit on it.
Oh, he's saying
what I'd say though,
yeah. I pop the pain away.
What I'd say though is, I don't think. I think as a piece of music, yeah, or like as a song, I don't think. I think I'll speak for myself. A song like "Mother I Sober" to me is a better song than a Die Hard, but Die Hard is very necessary within the sequencing. Because you've just come from, I mean, United in Grief, which is pretty heavy, N95, which is a bit mad. We've already spoken about Worldwide Steppers. We needed that. We almost like that simplicity and the upbeat. Even though it's a bit dark, the upbeat nature, the sort of simple hook, it's just necessary. It's just like, let's breathe for a minute.
The reason
and then
why
you're back
I didn't
into
like
Father
it,
Time.
Though, when I listened to the first few times, it's like the first 3 songs flow so well. You get this idea of what the album will be from them, and Die Hard is not what you imagine. It's literally like that's the left field, like
Something I want to talk about is because I don't know if I've ever actually chatted to any of you about this. How do you feel about Kendrick singing and his melodies.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. I love it.
Now.
I love it.
What's that song? Love So Sexy Nasty or whatever. Is that with Mac Miller?
Oh yeah. That's what I mean. I love that song. That's what I mean. That's why I love his melodies. Ever since
and in Goosebumps, when he sings in Goosebumps, that is magnificent.
That is his voice has gotten better though. Like the ending of Crown. The ending of Crown. What he does there is that's like Tom York from Radiohead.
Crown is different. Crown is different.
I'm here for Kendrick singing. Like his voice, he's not trying to sing. He's just singing. You know what I'm saying? It's emotive singing.
Personally, I prefer
it reminds me of like an auntie. Like imagine like this like old like African American auntie singing. Like that's Kendrick's voice. So
my auntie is Kendrick now. What? See, for me, I'm like Sam. You mentioned some good examples. I prefer it when he does the sort of falsetto stuff, the high pitched. I like it when he goes in that bag. But I'll be honest. There's songs throughout his career where I'm not feeding the singing much. Like God's never. Like I've never really been.
I love
big
that
into
song.
God or love.
God, I hear that one. I hear that.
When he sings like that, where it's a bit more.
Love is good. Love is a vibe. I don't sound like.
No, I don't know. No, love. I've never. It's all right, but God is.
It's not. It's never. Don't get me wrong. It's never like. It's never like to the point where I'm skipping. It's just. Sometimes, especially when, like I say, when he's singing more on that sort of.
The singing on Damn is worse than in Tip of a Butterfly.
Yeah, but the problem is with Damn, he's actually trying to sing. And what I'm trying to get at is when he's just singing, you know what I mean? It's great. Yeah. But when he's trying to sing, that's when it comes.
He was trying to make like full singing tracks on Damn, and it was a bit like.
I like Love though. Love slap because it had that Zachariah guy, whatever, carrying the real vocals, and he comes in and everybody does be then.
It's a cool song. You know it's just there's
singing is better on that though than God. God is like.
Yeah, God, I like God. That's what God feel like. Oh man, yeah, I can bump that.
That's your type of thing.
But I'll tell you what though. I'll tell you what. Kendrick singing doesn't upset me as much as when some other rappers try to sing.
Oh, trust me.
We won't start naming them, but you know, some of our top 5 really shouldn't sing.
Kendrick's not the best singer ever, but he does have a really nice, like, weird voice.
He's definitely not blessed with the best speaking voice or rapping voice. His voice is actually quite abrasive because like what Sean's got here on the run through is how do we feel about Kendrick's singing and melodies on this project and in general. Kendrick's melodies can sometimes come off a bit pitchy, like and Baby Keem has really complimented him with that, but it's still very hard to listen to.
There's even bits on here, like there's a bit on, and I love this song. I love the closer Mirror, but there's a bit. I think it's like towards maybe the end of the second verse where it's just like that didn't sound right. I don't know. I'd have to like.
Oh, is that when he starts going?
No. But even that's not great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when he just goes, "I choose me, I'm sorry," because to me that just sounds like he's kind of trying to sing, not trying to sing, but he's singing.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
What bit are you getting?
Which bit there? I'm trying to think because there's some bits of Mirror that even though I love Mirror, I love
two. I think it's verse 2 where it's just. It's not the singing. It's just the verse 2 for me is always feels so brief, and I'm like, what's going on here? It's the bridge where he's singing. Where
I choose me, I'm sorry.
You're going off. No. Where he's like, what does he say? I realize true love's not saving face. He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sing.
Please do it.
But
please do it.
Definitely not.
I'll give you auto-tune. I give everyone auto-tune when they sing.
So you know what I mean. So the final one. No, I'm not singing. The final 2 lines. You know where he says, "Sorry, I didn't save the world, my friend. I was busy building my."
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
In that bridge, there's bits in the singing where it's like, reel it in. It's not great. It's not great.
He's happy at this point, man. How are you getting nudged in?
That was funny though.
It's a great
one
song.
thing that the listeners won't know, because when we listened to the album, it was really, really early in the morning. Obviously, you know that part. But Sean said, after this song, can we take a break? And it was like, do you not feel this, Sean, that this is the end of the album?
Sean was on another vibe.
It feels like the end. Sean's like, I need a break after this. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't have the but like the reason I said the break is because it felt there was an essence of finality, but I didn't have the track list.
You just had no idea.
Yeah, so, I don't think anyone had the track list up with them.
No,
just me.
No, I didn't have the track list. Yeah,
I had no concept of time, like how many tracks there were.
I actually don't remember listening to it. All I remember telling people is this is a really good album. I need to wait a bit longer to listen to it again because I don't understand what's going on, especially in the first part. I feel like this too woke me up, because this one was actually putting me in a dark place.
This one was like a nightmare, isn't it?
This one was upsetting my spirit, man.
No, but we wheeled up N95. That was a good moment.
Oh, we had to. Yeah. We had to because it was stupid what was going on there. We said no wheel ups, but that one had to get a little pullback,
Mr. Morale perked me up though. That was
Mr. Morale is something.
I don't remember that.
It's the second verse for me, man. Oh, when he's saying he's in meditation, but his spirit. That got me hyped.
So we somewhat made it through most of the album, right? Okay, we've made it through all 18, technically 19 tracks now, if you count whatever they added at the end. And we've been skipping over one of the only prominent other features, technical features, in this whole album. Kodak Black.
Oh,
all that.
Yeah, we've got to address it.
Can I address it from my point of view?
I'm gonna go last.
I'm addressing it from my point of view. Considering all what we said today, yeah, I don't care what Kodak Black has been up to. Yeah, I just like his music, and I don't like all his music. I like some of it. Okay, whether he did his private life, whatever. Okay, if it's like a real fucked up mad thing, someone let me know. Jump on the Discord, obviously Discord time. But I don't know what he's been up to. I don't know what he does.
I'm gonna jump in. It was a mad.
Yeah, well, it was a madness.
But he's on a Kendrick album, so how mad is it?
No, it's pretty mad. It's pretty mad. But I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know what? I'm just gonna come in now. I know I was gonna go last, but look, Kendrick.
Sean. Let us speak. You always.
All right, go on.
I know you've got like a 5-minute monologue.
I do my monologue.
4 minutes.
I just felt like he put it on because he relates to Kodak Black, like where Kodak Black's come from. I know there's other controversies surrounding, including him, but I feel like, especially where it comes from, like he's got the Daddy Issue song, and then it comes to the Kodak Black interlude, and then Rich Spirit comes. Yeah. It's like Kodak's got this life experience that's quite similar to Kendrick's. Like he had maybe like a messed up upbringing, maybe he had sexual abuse. You didn't tell us that part, and then he comes into like the streets, gangster, then rapping, all of that. So there's actually quite a lot of similarities between him and Kodak. So I understand why Kendrick must find some relation to him. I get that it's controversial including him on, but see, there's a part of me, like we know Kodak's a sex abuser, right? Or offender. I don't know what the word is. Sexual offender.
Is that what we're going with? Is that what you man are running with?
Is that the word we're saying?
I don't know what we're going. I'm just asking the questions. I'm asking questions.
According to the law, according to the law, he wasn't charged with that.
This is what I'm trying to say. We got to go by the book of the law.
But there's been some sort of like sexual misconduct in
allegedly. Please put the prefix.
There's been some sort of misconduct. We know that.
I like that.
For sure.
I like that.
All I'll just quickly jump in and say is the victim, who was underage, went to her school for help. Right? She didn't go to a newspaper or a news channel or social media. She went to her school, to the nurse at school. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
okay.
It is wild.
I'm gonna say something like it's controversial, but I think we hear like a victim's perspective of sexual abuse with Mother Isoba. Like we hear his mum's perspective, but I feel like we'd only get like half the story, not hearing like the other side of it as well. Like whether Kodak was actually wrongly accused or did actually commit it to. He is a part of this whole sexual trauma storyline, and he does actually contribute and give a whole other side of the coin to that as well. And that for me is actually quite interesting to hear, even if I don't like agree with him. Like I don't find myself skipping Silent Hill when his verse comes on.
I never skip that.
I don't feel like any type of way like. It's hard to explain because, like, for example, like when like Jail Part 2, I feel weird listening to the Baby's verse and like Marilyn Manson singing on that song. Like that does feel weird. I don't even
listen to that. Do you know what's funny about Donda? Half a Donda actually went in the bin for me.
It's all perspective, isn't it? As Kendrick says on the Heart 5. It's perspective. It's all relative.
I also feel that he sort of brought on Kodak as well because, like, again, it almost links to Savior as well because everybody holds him in this high regard and holds him as like the Messiah and he's perfect and everything. And he's trying to be like, he's trying to tell people, hold on a minute, I'm more Kodak. Like, what is it? I'm more Kodak
like
than I am pro black.
Yeah,
because everyone hides him in this whole regard. And there's another thing, it's because. And it does happen. If Kodak's on a future feature, is anyone like chatting or saying anything about Kodak? No, because it's on Kendrick. Because it's on Kendrick, there's a problem. Like I think Kendrick's done that intentionally to be like, well, I'm trying to show you I am not this perfect sort of guy, and he's not condoning what Kodak's. He's not condoning what Kodak's done.
Yeah, like Kendrick killed someone at 16. Like we're not supposed to be idolizing him at all. Isn't that what he said? Would you?
But he said it. But
no, he said it. Yeah,
I believe him. To be fair, I actually believe him because
I believe he smoked on the shenanigans. That's what I believe. Okay, not the shenanigans. That's what I believe.
Killed someone on the shenanigans. Sam, was there anything you wanted to say before I pitch in?
Kodak, right, is leading us through this whole album, right, and I'm gonna put everybody who likes this album and everybody in this call in a very awkward place. Whatever you rate this album, that reflects on your views of Kodak Black. So if you rate this album highly, that by proxy means that you're fucking with Kodak Black. That's all I'm saying. Joint enterprise. Go away, Sean.
First, here we go. First big disagreement. I'm going to obviously explain. But I'm just going to, off the jump, say I wish Kendrick did not put Kodak Black on this album. I think Kendrick could have conveyed his message without giving Kodak Black a platform, just like he kind of did with the R. Kelly line as well. For me, I get the artistic purpose. I fully understand what Kendrick is saying, why Kodak's on here. I get that he's meant to kind of ruffle feathers, make us feel a bit uncomfortable and give us a different perspective, because the overall message in saying that, you know, hurt people and the cycle of trauma and this and that is an important one. And I get it. But for me, it's easy for me to say all those things. How does the victim feel? Or how does a victim feel of that when they hear said person on an album? Now, the bit for me that was slightly disappointing here, this is my only sort of like criticism of Kendrick with the album is again, and I give him the benefit of the doubt, like I said, because from what we've had to date, he's a thoughtful, intelligent artist. But what we don't get on this album is, I guess, there's not the perspective of the accountability on the perpetrator. So I know, like, when he's talking about his mum and his experiences, fine. With the Kodak thing, it's like, it's talking about, I guess, his trauma and how Kendrick relates to him. But and then he has the sort of little line about R. Kelly as well. But where is the other side of it, where we go, okay, yes, there is a reason for why people commit these terrible things and we need to do something about it and help people at a younger age and this and that. But there's also, you still did it. And the person you did it to and the people who are affected by that crime are never going to want to see you rehabilitated because you have violated them. And to them, you're a monster, right? Whether that's right or wrong.
Some of those
for me,
people are forgiven, though.
I would have liked Kendrick to just maybe have given us that perspective within there as well.
I've got a question though, Sean, because doesn't that sound like you're cancelling Kodak Black?
Personally, I mean, to clarify, I don't like or use that term. I'm not cancelling. I don't skip Kodak Black on the album. So maybe I'm being a bit hypocritical with what I'm saying here. But I'm like the opposite of Sam. I don't listen to Kodak because he makes me feel uncomfortable. Kodak Black, I'm not saying he's a bad rapper, bad musician or anything like that. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed songs from him, but I don't actively listen to his music or follow him or anything like that. Because for me, again, I'm not saying he did what he was accused of. He, you know, by the law, he wasn't convicted for that. But I've not really seen anything from him personally, and I could be wrong, and I'm open to like people telling me otherwise, where he is actively trying to be a better person.
He gives to charity.
It's like what? Even the worst people in the world do that too.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't know what Sean wants from us. I don't know if Sean wants a personal.
I don't want anything from him.
I do hear what Sean is saying.
I don't want anything.
I understand.
I don't want anything from him.
I hear totally what you're saying.
Back to my original point. I think Kendrick Lamar is a talented enough artist to make that point. but not have him on the album. And then to a lesser thing, this is a bit more. This is just me, just kind of. This isn't. I guess it's not necessarily relevant, but when I think about like how Kendrick feels about Nipsey Hussle and what he did with the Heart Part 5 and what Nipsey means to I was going to say Kendrick and the West Coast, but just hip hop in general. After what Kodak did, with the whole sort of moving towards Lauren London and not really apologizing and then kind of apologizing, it all kind of seemed a bit insincere.
Do you think
Kendrick I was quite surprised
to
see Kodak on a Kendrick album?
Do you know especially how we know stuff, right? We know stuff about what happens. Do you think Kendrick even knows that Kodak Black has said something like that?
Well, I thought that. I thought back to the whole thing about I go months without my phone and this and that. And I thought maybe he doesn't know. But then I thought, again, I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. If he does know, I would assume that a conversation took place. I reckon a conversation took place.
Too much benefit of the doubt, though. Like, because I'm thinking, like, this Kendrick trying to teach us, like, we need to be forgiving. But it's like,
yeah. So
I think I'm looking too deep.
I want to ask everyone this question separately, right? Why has Kendrick put Kodak Black on here? My answer to that is because he's wavy and it's just what he wanted to do. Everyone else, what's your answer? Why has Kendrick Lamar put Kodak Black on his album?
You say next.
Oh, me, because I just think because he personally, I think he acknowledges what Kodak's done, and I understand where Sean's point is coming from. But I think he's trying to show that stop putting me in this like high light. I've got my bad moments and bad things that happen to me, and I'm more of a normal person, and sort of. That's what he's trying to make that link so everyone sees that. Obviously, is it? Did he execute that well? Did he need Kodak on there? I don't know, but that's why I think he's put him on there personally.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I get it. But then you've all heard me say this before. Where's the line? Like, and do you remember when Kanye brought Marilyn Manson out, the Donda thing? And I was like, this is just why are you doing this? Look, again, I could be wrong. Maybe Kanye West and Marilyn Manson have an actual personal relationship, and he was supporting his friend. And I know it's come out recently that. The charges have been dropped. There's a defamation thing, blah, blah, blah. But for me, when someone's accused of crimes that severe and I don't have a personal relationship with them, I'm not doing any business with them until I know whether they're guilty or not. And Kanye's, that was way less thoughtful than what Kendrick's done here with Kodak Black. That was shit, to be honest, like bringing him out and all that. And it wasn't executed very well. But again, back to what I'm saying, where's the line? It's like, I know the artistic purpose. I know the point Kendrick's trying to make in terms, like when we link it to the themes of trauma and like, going back to that line about rappers hiding their trauma within their chains and their tattoos and all this. But again, I always think of the victim or victims of a similar crime. It's like, to me, there's no artistic reasoning. It's just nip it in the bud. Don't work with that person. But look, again, might be being hypocritical. I don't skip Kodak on here. I actually quite enjoy his features, and I'm not quote unquote cancelling Kendrick or anything like that. But I just kind of wish he wasn't on here. Personally.
I think we don't know the whole story. To be honest, I don't think we know this relationship with Kodak. Just like how Kanye and Marilyn's relationship and stuff made more sense now than then.
So what's your answer to it, Kieran? Why has Kendrick put Kodak on his album?
For me, and like for my listening experience, I get this perspective that because we see Kendrick as like the savior, like we can't help it. Like High Power was the first song I loved of him. You know what I mean? Like he's always had this like untouchable, like perfect idea. So he's put someone he sees as like almost identical to him actually, and he's saying like, this is actually who I am. And it's an uncomfortable thing to come to terms with. But that's this album.
I think I'd be interested that's why I really want a good interview with him, I think, because I would like him to address some of these things, because again, I know what he means, but when you hear a line like what he says about R. Kelly, which is thought-provoking, where he says, I won't, what is it? He says,
is it on Mr. Morale you're thinking of?
Yeah, where he says about
I wonder if
Robert Kelly would have
Robert Kelly was for God's sake, no, I can't remember.
I wonder if would he have done it if he wasn't molested?
Yeah,
right,
pretty much.
And that is I don't think anyone really thinks that when they think of R. Kelly, they just think monster now. But then again, it's like what? But where's the perspective of like the victim or the relatives of the victim? Like, you're not. I can't relate. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking on this. But if I or someone very close to me was a victim of a sexual crime or, something like that, I'm not really bothered about that person's upbringing. I've got no interest in whether or not they're traumatized or anything like that. I get help in trying to help youth in similar situations from similar backgrounds to prevent it. But the person, they did it. They've done it. There's no taking it back.
One thing about shining a light on this, though, is like that if you consider in your head, oh, R. Kelly did these things with these people, but he was abused. So that's what caused him to go down that path that led into that. It helps the victims educate themselves, actually I am more prone to inflict this on somebody else too, because it is more likely for someone that was sexually abused to abuse somebody else.
Yes, because hurt people.
This is something that needs to be acknowledged. Otherwise,
I'm probably wrong, innit?
We're just protecting the victim if we don't address the actual core issue inside of it.
Yeah.
I don't think you are wrong, Sean, because the thing is, I think what he was trying to do is that he's nip it in the bud is the wrong term, but he's basically trying to say that, what I think from that, he's saying that he doesn't condone what R. Kelly's done, but in order to stop this stuff happening, people are getting they might be sexually abused, and as he said in the Heart Part 5, hurt people. So we need to stop. We need to stop trying to have people that are hurt, because when they're hurt, they do things because of what they're affected by, what's happened with their trauma. If we can stop that link, then we can create a sort of a better place where hurt people are not hurting people. And I think that's what he's really trying to get at.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, the R. Kelly line doesn't bother me at all, because I said, I think it's actually quite thought-provoking, and I think sort of what you're saying, Kieran, I think we can actually learn a lot from that perspective, both victims and just society in general.
I know,
and maybe, do you know what? Maybe what Kendrick's saying, I've got some healing to do. Maybe it would be the healthier thing to do is actually understand why, even if you are a victim, both for yourself and just in general.
Why you might have been abused. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, I think I've just got more problem with the Kodak feature, and I just would have maybe liked the other end of the, I don't know, more, not the other end of the the perspective, i.e. a victim, but I guess just more on accountability and being although I'm saying hurt people, and there are reasons why people commit these things, but also this is, this is wrong. You know what I mean? What these people have done is wrong and arguably unforgivable. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being that Kendrick fan that expects too much.
No, honestly, he just doesn't want us to like him as much as we do. That's the truth of it. We like him too much, he thinks. Because he's actually more like Kodak Black. He's not this pro-black leader.
Yeah.
He's more like Kodak Black. I don't even know what that actually means, because from what we know of Kodak Black, he's this thug, potential rapist type of thing. What does that mean?
But what I'm saying is, and when I say hear me out on this, it's Kendrick's album, and whoever Kendrick chose to be on it is his choice, right? Mm-hmm, and it's to build his story and his narrative, or just to make his album sound how he envisions it sounding. And I know we're kind of trying to be as fair and as just as possible, but rap music's fucked. Most rappers are fucked up, and he said it. Yeah, not to try to gloss over the point, but I think the message that Kodak Black delivers on the album, it's he's carrying the story. His actual song Silent Hill, I don't really understand what he's trying to say or what he's doing. I think he's just rapping, But think about how much rappers nowadays would kill for a Kendrick Lamar feature, and then look at who he's giving it to. What does that tell you about Kendrick's view of the game? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Why does he pick these people? These features are all very random and very much not people I would have expected to hear. And out of all the new school rappers, out of all the new school rappers, he's let Kendrick. He could have had Lil Baby do this. He could have had, what's the other guy's name? Forgot his name.
Gunna.
Yeah, one of them guys do this exact same thing.
And you forgot about him.
Mm-hmm. No, but I just don't remember their names. I was going to say Young Thug, but he's in a whole bunch of fuckery right now.
Yeah.
But why did he... I've asked this question before, obviously, earlier, that's what sparked this conversation, but who Kendrick picks and why he picks them, it will always escape us. Because...
For the story, MC8, for example, remember that feature? That was so random.
Nah.
I don't know if it was, though.
From Mad City.
don't know if it was though. I think it was a surprise, like because he's not a big name and all that. But the West Coast connection made sense. You get what I mean? I guess ultimately,
like Ice Cube though.
I guess ultimately, it could have been. Yeah. I guess ultimately, like Sam, back to your question, why did he do it? I think what Kendrick means when he says "I'm more like Kodak Black" is I'm flawed. Like simple as that. But then you get people like me that kind of attach Kodak Black to something more serious than that, and it's just problematic. But look, like I said, like you said, Kendrick's his own man. He can do what he wants. Him and his team. People have done worse things in the world. We all have it. Like I talk about the line. We all have a different line. And I still listen. I'm a hypocrite. I'm still listening to all the features, enjoying it.
Speaking of all the features, talk us through your Taylor Page addiction and what they called Talking Heads, Soft Brain. What they called Beth Gibbon. I don't know. What's that thing called? All the features on here. Beth Gibbons.
Are you talking to me?
What are you trying to say, Sam?
Yeah, what are you
trying
saying?
to flow, man. I'm trying to get into the rest of the features.
Well, I think we need to talk about Taylor Page, but also something. I mean, maybe I'm like just way off, but I noticed a real female presence on this, and it's not something that's Kendrick's not done before. Like for instance, To Pimp a Butterfly, the only rap feature was Rhapsody, and Anna Wise is featured heavily in his career. But I think it'd just be good to talk about that Taylor Page feature and just like, did we have any? Am I on my own with this? Like, did anyone else think like, oh, there's quite a lot of women on here, and whether there was a reason for that?
I think he was trying to give a balanced perspective because I think, especially with a double album,
especially with Kodak Black,
like that's a lot of man talking, isn't it? Like,
I'm being cynical, sorry,
but yeah.
Taylor Page is
cut Kieran off mid shit.
Oh, no. You cut him off. But what I was going to say is, because especially with We Cry Together, they're in an opposing point of view. But at the end, I think they have like a reconciliation. The women aren't actually opposing to Kendrick in this album at all. I think in every single song they're in agreement. Actually,
are you sure about that? If you heard We Cry Together, they're not in agreement with him at all.
Purple Hearts is a bit more playful.
I'll tell you what, right?
Purple Hearts. I've got a problem with one of
that song could go in the fucking bin. That song is so bad.
Yeah, that's my least favorite song.
I can't deal with one of.
I can't stand it. I don't even listen to it.
I can't deal with one of the lyrics, man. When it said, "If it ain't love, you gotta eat from my ass." No, I'm not doing any of that shit, man.
No,
you need to eat the ass.
I'm not here.
I'm not having this. I'm not having this. You gotta eat the ass.
And they ask you to do something.
I'm not here for that lyric.
Theo, man, I'm telling you now, yeah. You lick your wife's bum one time, she can look at you differently. It's a magical experience. Just
it's like those Japanese toilets.
Oh God, I don't know what he's talking about. But I'm telling you, you go there, you be eating the puss, yeah, and you go down, lick the bum hole. She's gonna be like, it's gonna be magical.
Oh no!
Obviously, you don't have visuals, yeah, but Sean's jumped out his seat. Theo is done, and Kieran is in disbelief at what I've just said. All I'm saying is, I'm not against what Summer Walker said about eating the booty like groceries, but that song's just weak.
With it, innit?
The song's just weak. The song's just weak for me. Like, I don't know. Considering the features, it should be one of the better songs.
The beat is repetitive, but I don't think it's a weak song.
Ghost I like the beat. That's what I will say. I like the beat in Ghostface. But yeah, his verse is but his verse is ridiculous. That's what
Kendrick's weak on it. I think Kendrick's the weak thing about that song.
Kendrick's singing on there as well, isn't he?
I don't know what he's really doing on that song. I don't know.
Out of all the songs on this album, I just like it the least, which is odd to me.
It is a nice outro though. The thing is with Kendrick's outros, I don't think they bang often at all. Really, like they're more like just the album's. When my message is over, I'm just gonna close off with like a nice note. It's usually like a credits or something, and it's that kind of moment. It's a credits for side A.
Yeah, no, I get Sam why you're not really feeling it. It's probably my least favorite too. But again, a bit like the way Die Hard comes in after Worldwide Steppers. It feels like after We Cry Together, we needed something with that kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? I know it could have been maybe a better song, but it was needed again for the sort of sequencing. But yeah, the features. Yeah, Taylor Page to me, best feature on here. I'd love to know,
but she is.
But the thing for me is, first of all, she's an actress,
yes,
or an actor, whatever term you want to use. She doesn't do this, right? Unless she does in her spare time, I don't know. Unless she used to, but I'd love to have been in the studio seeing this happen, because I feel like I get the impression that Kendrick maybe and whoever was writing it wrote the song. They like picked out who they wanted to perform on it, and like gave her lines. But I reckon she had input too.
What if they just
she had input?
What if they just freestyled this and then snipped it together into a song? You see what I'm trying to say? What if he was like, "This is the situation. We're arguing and try rap at the same time." You see what I'm trying to say?
But that's the genius of Kendrick and his team, because most people, I would say 99%, even maybe not that high, but most artists would have just picked another rapper. But they were like, we need an actor.
They need an actor. They need someone that can perform
Kendrick is an actor.
Character like Kendrick can.
Yeah, Kendrick.
And
is
I'll be honest, it might not be, lyrical miracle or like, crazy flow. To me, it's the best feature of the year.
It's the delivery. Yeah, exactly.
The delivery is like Biggie level. Let's be real. Like she's like performing this.
Yeah, she is performing that. It's because it's like when she's like, "Just give me my keys." That raw emotion that you actually feel like.
Has anyone listened to this song though on the clean version?
Oh yeah, that's a madness.
So funny. I think this might be the most explicit song ever. Maybe.
Oh, 100%. 100%. This has to be the most fucked up explicit song in the world.
Do you know when I'm trying to chill, I listen to the clean version instead. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, I haven't listened to that song more than twice because it just makes me feel. I don't like arguments, and that is a real argument that I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's a real argument.
I'm the one that sent the clean version in like 2 days or the day that the album came out. I was like, listen to this, you lot, and it's just like, you, give me my keys, you.
It's do you know what though? Masterpiece.
Talk me through the rest of the features, Sean. Who's
my
Whitney?
surprise feature was Whitney. That's Kendrick's wife. She's on it.
Oh right, okay. Yeah. I'm thinking, who the fuck is
fiance or wife?
Oh wait,
no, there's still fiance at the moment. I think
last time he fucked a white bitch.
Well, we know why now, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We know why they've not been tied.
Yeah,
Florence was a surprising one.
Respect to her, man. Respect to her, because this is, again, we talked about, or we touched upon it with the Father Time content. Like, this must be very difficult, like to kind of have this information out there. Because I think I said it the first few times we listened to it, I felt weird listening to this album because it was like, I shouldn't know some of this. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But for her to be cool with this and to, and then also feature on it.
She contributed, yeah. Is it only Mother I Sober though? Or no, she's on.
No, she's on other track. She's on the beginning of Father Time, isn't she? She's the one who says, "Do you need to talk to Echo?"
And then she also, I feel like she says breakthrough at the start.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, it's hers that says breakthrough. Yeah.
Which shows she was. I think that shows she was involved in his therapy process though, because she's the one that sent him to go anyway.
Yeah.
It makes sense. She's got presence throughout.
Who else we got? Beth Gibbons. Yeah, that was a surprise, man. That was. But I'm not going to act like I'm some big Portishead fan. But I did when I saw the name, I wasn't like, it didn't ring a bell. And then but then I saw of Portishead.
Yep.
I was like, oh.
And it sounds like her delivery on that Road song, isn't it? I like it.
And that song's beautiful, man. That singing is just
that chorus is like
amazing, man.
Choruses I've ever heard, honestly.
Yeah.
It's very haunting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
When he goes, the end of the final verse where he's like, he says, "This is transformation," and it just comes back down again. It's just her voice. Yeah. Oh, perfect, man. Perfect. Summer Walker. Back to Purple Hearts. I've just never been really into her music, like her style of singing.
I like her. I like her on this song though.
It's cool, but it's like it doesn't.
I don't know. She's just no.
Doesn't do
I've seen what this does for other people though. Like I've seen people play the album from that song because they like that vibe.
I don't really like Summer Walker, man. She's not all that.
It's a tool.
But someone we haven't talked about Baby Keem though. Baby Keem snaps on the interlude.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you see, he snaps on the interlude, man.
And his chorus as well, on Savior.
So his chorus on Savior.
But his interlude is incredible.
His interlude is just fire.
Do you know what people? Loads of people are saying, Kendrick wrote that. Why did Kendrick write that?
That's what I don't get that because it's just stupid. Like people just like that. He's not that great because Kendrick wrote for it. I'm like, no.
I'm trying to pick it up. Like, I'm trying to hear Kendrick in it, and I'm like, of course, I'm sure they wrote it together. Like I'm sure that other people wrote some of Kendrick's songs as well because there's credits. But I'm not listening to it going, this is just like a Kendrick reference track.
I think this is an immature comment to make now. Like,
it is.
Rappers should be collaborating with other writers to make better songs. It doesn't make sense not to do that.
I'm with you, but even so, I'm like, where is like the explicit Kendrick in this?
I see the reverse of this. I see Keem has influenced Kendrick.
Massive.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So why can't Keem have written this?
Yeah.
In fact, that ad-lib probably came from Keem, innit?
100%. Like you said with N95, that is Keem influence. I do not care. Like the way when he switches up all the flows when he's and even in the video when he's talking to Keem, I just hear Keem when he's doing that. Yeah. Like that is Keem's influence massively.
Yeah, that is a standout. That interlude actually from him reminded me a tad of when Chance featured on Life of Pablo. In the sense that it was just like there was something powerful about it. Like, this guy's arrived. And I know Keem's like got 3 projects to this point, family ties. He's on his way. He's won a Grammy, but this felt like an elevation. It was like, I think this is his best verse, like that I've heard personally. I think
better than Praise God.
Yeah, the Praise God was more like
that's out the what?
Yeah, I had to think. I was like, Praise God is a Praise God on like maybe more like a technical level, on like just a wild fun level, but this one like lyrically,
this one's it's lyrically so dense. Like I can't even unpack this verse yet. I don't even know what he's talking about.
He said at the beginning, have you ever seen your mum strung out whilst you're doing division? I was like,
what the hell?
That's just showing how normal it is. He's just trying to do his homework and his mum's just doing drugs. You see what I'm trying to say? It's amatic.
On drugs. Okay.
And the vocals, like the bit.
Bless you.
Man,
got that like, Wuhan virus. Oh, I told you earlier, sure I'd say a lyric that would piss you off. You didn't hear that part, but
Wuhan.
That's
around and get the Wuhan virus.
I don't condone that.
No one should ever take anything I say on this podcast seriously. It's mostly just to make Sean laugh.
Oh no! I could just see Fat Joe now.
That drawn on beard.
Which
push
these niggas off me like.
I have to double diss the review.
Double diss the review.
Push these bitches off me like. Pushing the snakes, I'm pushing the fakes, I'm pushing them all off me like.
Features, right? But last thing about features I wanted to talk about was did we find the lack of TDE presence telling, especially knowing that like it's the final album? Do we think there's anything to that, or is it just?
I don't know. I found it strange. Is this PG Lang now? I'm confused.
No, it's the final album. He's PG Lang now.
I thought he wouldn't in this album.
It's definitely a fun album, TDE, and you'll be. It wouldn't even surprise me if he releases another album next year or the year after. No, I'm saying it because it's PG Lang. Because I think he just wanted to get out of TDE. I can't lie to you.
There's a lyric on Rich Spirit. I pray to God that you realize the entourage is dead. Is that about TDE?
Oh man, jeez.
I was thinking, what entourage is he talking about other than TDE, which isn't on this album?
I did find it weird that there was no Black Hippie on here, man.
That's his
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Think about those old
crew, man.
TDE videos.
That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then they just got famous because of him too. Let's be real.
Yeah. Some of them earned their fame on their own.
But if they didn't know Kendrick, they wouldn't have got famous. I'm saying it.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Absol earned his own fame. Absol had big songs, and
they would have been underground rappers.
Schoolboy earned his fame.
J-Rock was the first one to.
Aesop
yeah, exactly. Aesop.
That's how big they would be.
No, but J Rock released before, yeah. K Dot. But anyway,
but no, I think
the entourage is dead.
But we've heard, I think there have been like slight rumors that there's something's happened. I think.
I had another theory. You know, I have a feeling Kendrick got annoyed that they were pushing him to be like this rap leader or something, or they were trying to tell him to like represent like culture or something. I don't even know, but I feel like that's a tension that he has on this album, and TD are missing, so there must be some tension that caused that. I feel like that could be a thing because his label do have a say in like how his career goes.
Well, I was listening to an Isaiah Rashad interview the other day, and he said something about how Top Dog works, and because I think the person interviewed him asked like, when can we expect new music? And he said, "Oh, I don't let Top listen to stuff because if I send him stuff, he might put it out." Like, I think TDE they're very I think they're quite. They know when they want to release stuff and when they want to kind of keep. It's weird because they don't really do it, but apparently they want to like. They're quite methodical when they want to release things, and that could be that could have been a wedge in the relationship really, where if Kendrick's not really like he talks about writer's block and it's taken him 5 years to put out an album. Maybe there were pressures to put out music that he didn't want to put out, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know there's been some rumors about relationships being strained, but I'm just looking here. I'm trying to think. When was the last time Kendrick featured on a TDE artist project as well? Because I'm thinking J Rock Redemption.
It'll be J. It is. That's the last time he featured on something.
That's 2018.
Yeah, it's mad. And J Rock's his boy as well. That's why I don't know what's happening. Like them two were tight. Like they used to when they first signed with Top and everything, slept on the couch and all sorts. That's his boy. So I did find that. I don't know. I thought there'll be at least one Black Kippy feature.
Hair Down was the last one.
Hair Down by who? Sir.
Yeah. But I mean, like from the old, the original crowd. Yeah. It's been a while since Kendrick's
vibe was weird on Hair Down though. Remember the video where he was like he didn't even want to be there, kind of thing. He was like in a cloak and like he was like shrouded. No one remember that.
No, I don't remember that. But I think the fact that TDE are missing from this album, I mean TDE is barely on any. Was TDE on Damn?
No, TDE wasn't on Damn. I don't think
so. Not much.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to say is the fact they're missing. Okay, let's highlight that. But at the same time, I don't think it's.
They weren't even on To Pimp a Butterfly.
No, they weren't on To Pimp a Butterfly either. Yeah, that's what I was just. That's what I was just.
We're overreacting a bit.
Yeah, I think we're viewing it a bit different. Like whatever PG Lang is what PG Lang is. But the fact TDE aren't on there, oh well. Kodak Black.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what I think it is? Do you know what I think it is? Even like, despite rumors and all that. I mean, I've never thought that there's been a problem between Kendrick and say like the artists. I don't think there's ever been any issue like that. I think. What it might be is, I mean, maybe when Kendrick drops Good Kid, Mad City, you get the Control verse, you get the BET freestyle. Perhaps they were expecting more of an output and maybe a more traditional career, you know what I mean, from him. And instead, he took 3 years, made To Pimp a Butterfly, went the complete other direction. Then, okay, another 2 years, makes Damn. Like it's not. And then another 5 years and you get this album. It's like, it's not really maybe in line with what the hierarchy wanted. Do you know what I mean?
I think Kendrick could have like redone and done this album, and I don't think he would have considered putting TDE people in it.
No. What I guess what I'm trying to say is I think Kendrick is like from early, I'm talking like from sort of post Good Kid, Mad City, has been on his own trajectory. He's in his own lane, on his own direction. And at this point now, after these last 3 albums or whatever, it doesn't make sense for him to be on TDE. It's just not the label where he belongs, I guess.
Yeah.
And they've come to an agreement, and it sounds like it's all amicable. And now he's going off doing his own thing. But he's working on like. In fact, we're going to talk about what's next and all that. But sticking with TDE production though, Soundwave.
Yeah, Soundwave's all over as usual.
We need to start talking about him more. I think
he's amazing. The thing is though, I don't. Because Soundwave made Feel on Damn, right? And for me, that's like the typical Soundwave production style. I don't really hear that on this album.
No, there's a lot of collabs on this though, isn't it? Every song's a collab, pretty much, near enough.
It's like I don't even know whether to credit Soundwave. Like, oh, Soundwave did sick because I don't even know if he did it. Like, I feel like I can hear Beacon sound more than Soundwave.
From what I might be way off on this. I feel like I heard someone say that I think his thing is the drums. I think he maybe is the drums and then pieces it together. There's a producer on here. Let me double check. I don't want to get the name wrong. Again, I could be way off actually, but I think it is that Duval Timothy. I think he's the pianist, maybe.
Yes, he is.
I think he is. Yeah,
the jazz pianist.
So it's almost like people. There's certain like there's kind of like recurring
roles that people play. To make and stuff. Yeah.
And they're all necessary. But Soundwave, I mean, Soundwave's been consistent throughout the whole career, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's all
I would say Soundwave probably was the leader of that team as well, just because he knows Kendrick the best. He's got the best relationship. Like he was probably that.
Yeah, but he only has one production credit on this album on N95.
I swear he has more.
I thought he had more than that.
Who does?
Soundwave.
No, he's got the most credits on it. He's got like
he's on loads. They're all just collab productions. Though. Yeah. His name will be like in the middle.
Oh, I'm talking about Soul Productions because you said about how Soundwave has a certain sound, right?
I don't hear the sound at all on this project. I don't even hear it on N95 to be honest. It's different what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't hear it on N95 at all, to be honest.
I'm hearing more like Donda style production on this album, to be honest. That was the first thing.
For Donda stuff, you got to listen to Count Me Out. That is the Donda
song. Oh my god, that's
Donda all over. Those backing singers and just feeling spiritual. Oh my goodness me! I felt like I was ascended into heaven listening to that song. I'm not even gonna lie, even though.
It's cool though. I'm not even like that's not even a criticism. That's more like a compliment to both albums. Like it's the modern hip hop sound that's working.
Yeah. See, I hear I hear Donda in the bass drop, but before that, with the vocals, I feel he's just singing. That reminded me of Sim's last album.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might be introvert.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
In fact, I mentioned this in the group. There's a few. This is random now. There's quite a few things on this where there's like parallels with UK artists. There's quite a few. You know, like there's some Sim stuff with the whole. Like when I think like there's that production, there's like Father Time kind of just makes you think of I Love You, I Hate You. Then like the whole therapist thing makes you think of Dave with Psychodrama. The We Cry Together reminds me of Dave's song with James Blake. And
that's what Dave wishes he could do, though. Yeah. We Cry Together is what Dave wishes he could do. Because Dave never reached them heights. He's got close, but he's never getting
that Dave song is so good as well. But like,
that Dave song is
Kendrick just showed how to do it the best way possible.
Yeah. Maybe he does listen to UK music. By the time you're hearing this, Kendrick Lamar has most likely I don't know if he's on the Sunday or
probably
not.
Performed.
He's on the Sunday. He's on the Sunday.
I know you motherfuckers don't listen on release day, but whenever you hear this, Kendrick Lamar has performed at Glastonbury. Go watch that. I said porn. I don't know why.
Quarter to 10. He's going. Jeez, I'm gassed.
Yeah, I'm watching that. With the producers though, that something I noticed is although it sounds like way different to anything he's done to date, a lot of the producers have worked with him for a long time. So like I noted some of the most notable ones. So there's J.BLS did Cartoon Serial.
What did you do on this?
Quite a few. I think he's like the second most credited producer on here.
Wow.
Or they are. I don't know what they are. DJ Dahi, obviously Money Trees, Damn. Beacon or Beacon as we call him.
Woo!
You know, all over Dan.
Shout out that guy.
And then let's move on to Pharrell. Jesus.
Oh, that jeez, let's not even. Oh my god,
that
man.
Pharrell beat is
disgusting.
Especially when it drops and like you get these like noises that.
It's disgusting.
When we go see him, that one's.
I told you I would Kendrick Lamar. Oh my god!
I called that out. I said when Mr.
We're seeing Kendrick. What?
I said when Mr. Morale comes on, people best move out the way because I'm going on a madness. I'm telling you right now.
Mad energy.
Know, man. I can't even envision what I'm gonna do. Like it's gonna be crazy. I might fall on the floor. Like
you saw that you've all seen the video that Pharrell posted, right? Where he's kind of like.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. The album was so fresh when he posted that I still hadn't clocked how much of a banger it was. When I saw Pharrell gassing certain lyrics like 3,000 wives and 3,000 lives, I was like, I need to hear this properly.
Yeah, I get the impression that Kendrick's lyrics got the most out of that beat. Like, I feel like Pharrell was listening to those lyrics and just like added some tweaks to make it a little bit harder and stuff like that.
Do we like the chorus, or do we wish Pharrell sung it?
He has got vocal credits on it though.
I keep feeling like I'm hearing Pharrell singing, but
he could be in there. He could be tucked there away there in the pocket. Who knows?
That's true.
He's definitely on there, but he's not singing. The main chorus is the new PG Lang artist.
It's his best vocal. Let's be real, because his solo music isn't the one.
What's his? Oh God, I'm doing him a disservice though. Tana Leon, is that it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I do not like his solo music.
Yeah, let's move on.
Oh yeah, you guys thought you were smart. You guys are like, let's go listen to the features.
We were trying to deep it like he's at the show.
No.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be getting my drink while we're there.
I think I might just do what me and Sean did when Schoolboy had that guy on. We just stand there and look at each other in disbelief. Like, I can't believe this guy's getting paid to do this.
That was honestly, I think Schoolboy was trolling us. I'm not gonna lie. That was
the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Awful.
Literally the worst music I've ever heard in my life. I wish I recorded some of it. I don't even know the guy's name.
It was. I don't think it was even. I think they just picked up some random guy and just got him to sort of scream through a microphone.
Is this Pharrell's best production with Kendrick, or like best collab with Kendrick? Would you say?
Possibly,
regardless of culture.
That's
impact.
hard.
I don't care about the cultural impact. Like, let's just be real.
I think beat wise, yeah. Good Kid's an amazing song.
It is, isn't it? I love it.
Good Kid is an amazing song.
Just the way
do you know what?
I'm not coming on this though. Like, oh.
And do you know what? We don't even have to talk about the cultural impact. I still love All Right. I know how
All Right.
It's a nice song. Yeah,
it's a great song. Great song. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I can't answer that. And then the other legend on here, Alchemist. I feel like I've put it on the run through. Alchemist and Pharrell are the top two producers this year for me so far.
But I think
so. Easily. Yeah, easily for me.
Kanye's in the debate. I think
that beat for Consequence.
That beat for Consequence, like there's a lot of other ones. Like the ones on Pusha T's album are different.
Yeah, I was about to say this.
The ones
Pharrell had the
better
beat.
Dry.
Kanye beat Pharrell on that album.
Diet Coke is a slapper. Diet Coke is the hardest beat I've ever heard in my life.
Diet Coke
Diet
is
Coke
disgusting.
is unbelievable.
Diet Coke is disgusting.
That song makes me break my neck.
Just so you remember as well. Just so you remember makes me feel weird.
Yeah, my beat of the year is hard. It really is, because don't forget, like, Threy's Revenge by Alchemist. That beat is still not number one.
Which one?
Threy's Revenge by Benny.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah. Alchemist is so incredible. Like, and this is one of his best beats, I think, as well.
What he did
Alchemist
on
is
this
volume as well
was amazing.
So much music.
We Cry Together. The way he's put that together, put that there. That piano is haunting.
Piano sample, the way it flips is like incredible too.
It's meant to be for that. I don't know what that sample is from, but the way that's flipped and looped in there, it's like.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because do you know that trailer that Spotify's made? The way when the piano comes at the end, I'm just like, are we about to see like a murder or something in this film? Like, what's happening? It's so off.
Yeah, Alchemist just captures moods so well, so well. Last thing with the producers was Kendrick's got a few features, credits on here. Sorry,
Oklama does.
Do we think this is a sign of things to come, or is like just he does it for his own projects?
I don't think he needs to produce.
No, I don't think he needs to. Yeah,
I don't think he's producing. I think he's just there like change that type thing.
I think he just decided to finally credit himself, because we know for sure, like on To Pimp a Butterfly, you knew he was controlling what was going on in that studio.
Yeah. I think Thundercat said that. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's get to it. Is Kendrick now on the greatest album run of all time? And I just want to say, so when I say the albums, right, and we can debate this. For me, I'm talking about the major label albums. I'm talking about Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. To me, there's only one, maybe two artists that can compete with that. No, not even Tyler. Not even Tyler.
Tyler's on a good album.
I've got Outkast.
Oh,
yeah, I was about to say Outkast. Yeah, because I couldn't think of anyone else because their album was disgusting.
And maybe Kanye.
Maybe.
But yeah, because I think that
maybe Kanye. Go back. What do you mean maybe Kanye?
We can't even say maybe Kanye because we can't even say maybe Kanye because College Dropout, late registration, graduation.
Where does the run end?
Yeah,
that's where it gets. Where it gets. That to me is where it gets debatable because 808s is one. I mean, I know in retrospect people look back and it's incredibly influential. Even to me, when I listen back to it now, as influential as it has been, I don't put it on the same level as obviously Dark Fantasy at College Dropout.
I'll put it in perspective for you. Me and Kieran were bumping that album when it came out like it was the best thing ever. We were always on that album, right? And I didn't understand what people were trying to say about it because it always slapped for me. So for me, Kanye's always been rising and elevating the culture. He has had 2 dips. But even those 2 dips weren't bad because they were like developmental steps. And in between those, what was the album before that? But in between The Life of Pablo and the Jesus album, right? We missed albums. There were albums that were made that never came out. Turbo Graphics, Yandi, all that shit. The problem is with Kanye is he has no filter on what to release and how to release it. He just releases shit all over the place. Kendrick is a much more controlled, better version of creativity and artistry, and that's why his album runs seem so flawless. But
this is why I say maybe Kanye because, okay, that's 808s. Yeezus, right? It's similar for me and you. Me and you really like Yeezus from the day. But to this day, still polarizes people. There's a lot of people that don't rate Yeezus.
People aren't listening to Yeezus the right way.
I don't understand how people don't rate
Listen to the drums on Yeezus.
I do. I understand it because it's not. It doesn't sound like anything else in the mainstream.
But listen to the drums on Yeezus, and realize that was 2013, and now all the drums in every song sound exactly like that.
Yeah,
he was ahead of the game.
I get it. But what I mean is like when I get it again, 808s and Yeezus, incredibly influential, but polarizing. When we talk about Outkast and Kendrick, these are like undeniable, universal.
Hear me on this one though. Kendrick doesn't inspire or move the culture. As in the rap, no one's copying Kendrick. Kendrick doesn't do something and people go out and do the Kendrick thing.
I don't know, Logic.
Don't talk about that. I'm being serious here. You're being stupid.
I hear Kendrick in a lot
serious.
of artists, man. I hear Kendrick in Saba. I hear Kendrick in Jid.
That's true.
I hear Kendrick in...
They occupy the same lane. That's not the same thing as being influenced by each other.
Let's not make it about Kendrick like that. But
I know for a fact that Kendrick has a Kanye-inspired song. Kanye don't have no Kendrick-inspired songs. You get what I'm trying to say?
No, but it's not.
When Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, everyone wanted to do that album.
Yeah,
everyone wanted to copy that.
True.
Yeah, Kendrick is more influential. I think Kendrick is when we're talking just specifically rap and hip hop. Kendrick's very influential. I think Kanye is just more influential on a broader scale.
I'll put this out there because I'm
going beyond the point.
He is on the greatest run in history. Because it's arguably almost flawless. There's no duds.
I was even trying to think of like non-hip hop runs, and there's not that many that like have done what Kendrick's done. You know, I wrote down like Beatles, Prince,
Stevie Wonder,
Radiohead, Stevie Wonder as well, Bjork. But there's not that many that have like 4-5 albums that you could say are 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's small bands that have that, but you know they're not got the same major level appeal.
That's true as well. That's true.
Yeah. That's why I say that to me, there's 3. Like there's Kanye, there's Outkast, there's Kendrick. I think
I actually think Kendrick's topped Outkast at this point. Let's be real.
Do you
really?
Do you? I don't know if I don't know if I say that
because Andre on Life of the Party, right? It shows us that Kendrick is actually just a peasant compared to Andre. You see what I'm trying to say?
I wasn't saying Andre. I was just saying Outkast's run. I was literally just talking about that.
Let's just remind ourselves because so you know, like because bear in mind as well, I've not even included Section 80, Untitled Unmastered. Like, I've not even said those albums, right? To me, Section 80 is a bit like Outkast debut, where like Outkast debut is great, but when I talk about that run, it's 80 Aliens, it's Equimini, Stankonia, Speakerbox Love Below. That is just
that's ridiculous. That run is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is insane. And then if you want to broaden it out, Southern Playalistic, great album. Section 80, great album. It's tight, man. It's tight for me.
The fact that Kendrick has those in betweens though as well, like with the Untitled Unmastered, which I think is actually as good as his best projects as well.
I have holes to pick in those albums. I have holes to pick in Untitled Unmastered, but there's great songs on there. You know what I mean?
They're understandable holes, isn't it? Because they're demos and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm coming from a place of I have no ground to stand on because it's like these are just literal throwaways. Mm-hmm. But what I want to say is his discography, right? For me, I don't know how to rank it because he's not finished yet. You see what I'm trying to say? I feel like Kanye definitely has periods, eras, and we can rank Kanye's, as much as he's still releasing music actively, we can still rank him among other retired and finished rappers. But I don't think Kendrick has.
My thing with Kanye is he can't even be compared. Like, he just sits on the top, and it's like, who can get close?
It's not even in the top. He's somewhere else. He's all the way over there, right?
He's beyond.
But what I'm saying is, I can't rank his discography comparatively to anybody else because he's let's be honest, he's currently running the game. Not in the same sense as Drake. He's running the game from a perspective of everybody knows who Kendrick Lamar is. Huh?
Sorry, no, I said art.
Yeah, he's running the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going back on what I said earlier. I don't think he pushes the culture forward, but every rapper knows that Kendrick Lamar is currently the best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But he's not rapping anymore. You know what I mean? If he went on this whole mindless rap shit and was just barring off all day, it'd be ridiculous.
But you said something which is going to lead me to a question to ask that I didn't put on our run through, because you said that Kendrick's not done. What if he is done?
I don't think he is done.
Mirror, no. But what I'm saying, have any of you listened to Mirror with the mentality that he's done?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I almost cried. I was on the plane a couple of weeks ago. I almost cried. I was like, "Oh shit, he's
apologizing. Like, I'm done now because I need to choose myself."
He could be done. And I'm not saying he could be done.
This would be the best retirement from the game. But the problem is with Kendrick, I know he's the type of guy like he will quit music and he won't come back in any way, shape, or form. He will just quit and go. See how he's in Ghana chilling.
Yeah, exactly. He's that guy, man.
He won't come back. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
The thing
do you think that's what's next then?
The thing is though, doing a run like this, taking a break and then coming back and trying to like reach that level again, that kind of thing's not really happened that much at all. Like, I'm not just talking like a comeback where they just do one album. Like,
let's put it this way: the heights he's reached now, he's doing Glastonbury. He's done Coachella. He's done a lot of big things, right? How much higher does it go? Does he care about going that much higher? Or like, because now Sean's asked this question, I am seeing that point of he could be done.
What more could he do anyway?
I don't
He's
know
done every
what more
magazine. He told us about that. He told us about that.
I thought I knew everything about Kendrick before this album, but now I feel like there's no more to know after this one.
I think like we're kind of moving like onto like what next to now. I personally don't think he is done. I think there's a good chance we get an even bigger gap with a project. It could be like almost like D'Angelo type shit where it's just
1,855 days.
8 years. Yeah.
I think he's gonna.
I think we're going to see quite a lot of energy go into PG Lang, whether it be with Keem or like propping up other artists. But he's also apparently working on a film, isn't he, with the South Park creators? Yeah. So maybe Kendrick's and we know he's done a bit of acting, so maybe Kendrick's going to branch out and just do some different things.
Like
we might get some features
as well.
Sorry, soundtracks, mate. Yeah.
I never rated the Black Panther one. I ain't gonna lie.
No, but I think I can see him doing more, maybe like more like artsy stuff now. I don't know, like some of the visuals in the PG Lang stuff were reminding me of I've said the name already, like Safdie Brothers and stuff like that.
Did you see what Kieran sent in the group chat earlier about the breakdown of the N95 video?
The breakdown of N95 is unbelievable.
Because I was always looking at the scene where he's holding the pigeon. I'm like, what film is this from? I've seen this. I've seen someone holding a pigeon. And it's a Forrest Whitaker film. I was like, And then the thing with the baby, I already knew about that because that's a racism picture thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was from a lot of films and a lot of iconic stuff. I think he's got that
he's got a
skill.
Cinematic eye.
Yeah, he's got that skill to go the distance, man.
Yeah, I think he must have watched bad movies in lockdown or something. I don't know.
Trust me.
No, he caught COVID and was praying to Pfizer for relief.
Yeah.
Some of the damn videos were quite out there, right?
The damn videos.
Element is.
Let's just appreciate Humble, to be honest, because I was looking at the stills for that this morning. There's incredible shots in Humble.
He's always made amazing videos and videos that kind of make you think, wait, how are they doing that? Because before that camera movement, I'd never seen that before, and now I see it everywhere.
Justice? Remember Poetic Justice when they like sort of jump out the car and it reverses? Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Even back then, cool stuff.
He's always been up to something. But all right, so what does everyone think is next for Kendrick? For me, I think he does this massive tour. We get to see him at the end of the year. If I don't die, if no one else dies, and if he don't die, and from there he just kind of goes into hiding again.
Yeah, I agree.
Protecting himself in the Valley of Silence. That's what
I want him to just be happy, and I know he's doing so many tour dates, and let's be real, like that's difficult. I feel kind of bad for him, I just hope he's got energy by the time he gets to us.
Yeah, he doesn't owe us or anyone anything, innit? And no artist does, but I mean, especially him. He's got nothing left to prove. I personally think, like I just said, I think we're going to see work in other fields. I think we might get maybe a few more features, work with Keem. But in terms of like a solo project, I think it's going to be a while.
I don't see the solo project coming anytime soon.
No.
If we're still recording this podcast and it ain't blown up by the time Kendrick has dropped another album, we're doing something wrong. So you get what I'm trying to say? It's going to be a long time.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, who do you want to see a collab album with?
Honestly,
collab album.
He's never done
collab. You know my answer. I've wanted it from flipping day one. It's not going to happen. But anyway, I've wanted that.
J. Cole.
Oh, that's never happening. I wanted to see.
No, I know it's never happening.
R.I.P. Mac.
Probably won't happen. No. I think Baby Keem would be an interesting collab album.
Yeah, I mean that could be like a Watch the Throne 2023 or something like that, right?
Like, it's
good.
Tell a lie. I know who I want to see one with. Thundercat.
Ooh,
that would be wild. Yeah,
just them two. Thundercat could do some hooks and some verses. They can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get Anna Wise back as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be fire.
Kamasi Washington as well.
That'd be good.
Jazz Eyes.
That'd be jazzy.
But that'd be like To Pimp a Butterfly too, right?
Nah. Because Thundercat's like new wave type funk, and Kamasi can
just
spice it up.
Yeah,
he can. Kamasi can spice it up.
Kamasi, that would be sick.
Yeah.
I think Keem is the one I put my money on. I'm trying to think of like a random one that would just be. Ooh,
Kanye.
I mean, after that EP, give me a little EP with Dr. Dre, man. Let's just do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had enough music with Dre.
No, not at all.
No, but still.
I want that.
Right, Daydream. Should we get into favorite tracks?
Yep.
Let's do it. Who's going first?
I want to go last.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, this is 2 albums, right? It's not.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing 6. We're not doing 6 songs. Okay. No. Give him this. You can have 4.
Because
he can have 4. No one else can have 4. He can have 4.
I personally chose 6 because I have like 3 chill ones and 3 hype ones.
No,
let me just
come back to him.
Let me not go first then, because I need to cut you down.
God.
Who's going first?
I don't know, man. Mine's a bit of a struggle as well, you know.
Oh man,
I've got mine.
You go.
I've got mine.
How do you pick?
So my favorite is Savior. I love Savior.
Oh well, that's mine.
I love that. Yeah,
that's my number 1.
Father Time's number 2, and Mr. Morale number 3.
Oh God, that's good. You know, I'm still struggling. I can tell you at one. Savior is my favorite track on the album. Period. Actually, no, I'll go. Mine is Savior, United in Grief, and flipping hell. It's either Mr. Morale or Crown. One of them two. Crown is amazing. I just love that song. I just think it's incredible. Everybody. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
I don't think Kieran's ready yet, so I'll do mine. Mine are the poppy tracks, realistically. Father Time, Count Me Out, and Silent Hill. And that's not me saying that they're the best tracks. They're just my favorites. Those are the ones I actually like listening to. And those could change on any given day. Because I want to say Savior. I want to say Die Hard. You know what I mean? But Father Time, Count Me Out.
What else did it today? I thought to put Die Hard in my one. But I think mine is United in Grief. Especially because of the outro in that. The outro is incredible. Mother I Sober, and I just like to cry to that. I'm not gonna lie. I just put it on to bust a tear sometimes. And it's between Father Time and Savior. I just can't pick. The thing is, side A and side B, they're just so different. They're like, oh no, man. I'm in the thick of it.
It's all good. We
Why did he fold himself in half like that?
Like,
I know, it was like a deck chair.
I was ready to fall. Like, I had another question though. What's everyone's favorite side? Side A or side B?
Oh, side B, 100%. Mr. Morale's mine. Mr. Morale, all day.
Yeah,
that's interesting though. Side A's got a lot of the hits. Like, if you look at the most popular songs, they're all from side A.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. But what I'm saying is side B is for me. I thought side A was for me.
100%.
Then I thought side B was for me. And I stuck with side B.
I'm going to sound like a massive hypocrite now, though, as well. Because, Sam, I'm with you on Silent Hill. Because when the album first came out, I could not stop listening to that song. But I was also like laughing every time I listened to it because that too much. But you know that the song at the minute, there's the one that's like addictive to me is Rich Spirit. For some reason, that song is just. I love the like Nighttime Drive as well. Love it.
DJ Dahi sounds.
Scores.
9.7.
What? Oh, just said it well quiet. Like, I don't even know what he said.
He said 9.7.
What did you say?
I said 9.7.
9.7.
He was reacting.
Oh man, 9.7. You know,
I'll give you mine. Mine's not that high or complex.
Mine's not that high either.
I'm sitting at a nice, healthy 8.9.
You ugly as fuck. You are
That's an ugly score, man. I'm just saying that is ugly.
8.9 feels right.
No, I know what mine is. Mine's a 9.2.
I got 9.1.
Hold up, no chase on me, no chase on.
Hey, it's your boy Theo, and thanks for listening to the Grey Area Podcast. Now, go over and check the Discord. We got loads of different playlists for you guys to check out. And most importantly of all, we want to hear from our community. So go over and check it out. You might get a free seasoning pack. Peace.